Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're searching for an incredible novel, check out my Patreon page. Your support will help transform this story into an exciting audiobook. Join me on this adventure. By becoming a Patreon member, you'll be helping me keep creating and bringing this content to life. Thank you for being part of the journey.
Chapter 31. Chapter 31. May I ask why you are here? They were truly an odd bunch who had appeared at an odd time. Moreover, I could sense through my dragon sense that all of them were dangerous if I engaged them in combat, even the old man in wheelchair. Thankfully, I could not sense any hostility from them, otherwise I would have engaged them right away. Are you Peter Parker? The bald man asked. Yes, I am. What is your business with me? I asked warily. Hello, Peter. I am Professor Charles Xavier. Have you ever heard of me? Professor Xavier asked me. Yes, I know. You are a renowned expert on mutant-related topics. Now I understand who they were. The danger I felt from them combined with their background revealed that they were mutants. Can we come inside? We need to discuss a few important things related to you. Professor Xavier politely asked. Please wait a moment outside. I need to discuss it with my uncle and aunt. Saying these words, I closed the door without giving them a moment to reply. As I returned, I could see that Uncle Ben and Aunt May had emerged from their room because of our uninvited guests. Who is it, Peter? Gwen asked me while descending the stairs. They are mutants. They have come to meet with me, I said immediately, revealing the truth. Ancient One had warned me when I had left Kamar Taj that mutants would seek me out madly as my X-gene was supposedly too powerful. So, I had anticipated this encounter, but I had not thought that they would arrive the same day I came back to the city. So, what do we do now, Peter? Uncle Ben asked me, realizing I was more experienced in these matters. We would meet them, but not before preparing thoroughly. I activated the spatial ring on my right hand, which Ancient One had gifted me on my promotion, and pulled out 3 magical bracelets. Here, put these on your wrists and I try to activate them. I instructed. Everyone put them on and did as I instructed. Suddenly, there was an energy shield before everyone's body emanating from the bracelets. One of the bracelets was the one I had created earlier, and the rest I created under Hyrin's grandfather's guidance, when he had arrived to make my armor in Kamar Taj. All right, everyone. Get ready, I am bringing them in. I asked everyone to be prepared. Soon, I ushered Professor Xavier and the others into the living room. I apologized to everyone for ruining their sleep, but it was an extremely important matter. Professor Xavier looked genuinely sorry for disturbing us this late at night. Please don't be wary. We have just come here to talk. He reassured us once again, noticing our guarded look. Let me introduce ourselves. I am Professor Charles Xavier, and these are my friends Logan and Aurora Monroe. He introduced himself and the man and woman who came with him. All of us are mutants. Professor Xavier finally revealed that all of them were mutants. They must have expected us to be surprised, as they looked rather awkward after seeing that none of us were surprised by this sudden reveal. We have come to meet young Peter Parker here at such a time, because he is a very powerful mutant, Professor Xavier said, and again none of us were surprised. It seems that all of you already know, he muttered after seeing our expressions. How did you find that I was a mutant? It was truly odd that they found about me after just a few hours I was in the city. Let's just say that we have a mutant searching machine. Although, it is not accurate, it is more than enough to find the general area. And, when we searched the news about this area, we found about you, young Peter. Someone who had suddenly disappeared but was later found, however was still out of town. Professor Xavier started pointing out all the clues. Then, we queried in Mr. Ben's company and found that he was on leave because his nephew was coming home today. All of this matched perfectly with the sudden result. The machine gave us about the appearance of a powerful mutant. Incredible, they found me so quickly even though they only knew the general area. So, what do you want with me? I asked curiously, as even now I could feel no hostility from them. I would like to offer you to join my school. Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters. A school I have created for mutants where they can learn how to control and use their powers properly. Professor Xavier said, offering me a proposal. I could see the benefit in joining such a school. Even I sometimes felt a little awkward in Kamar Taj because of my powers and status. What would happen if I deny your offer? Unfortunately, I would have to deny Professor Xavier's offer because I was already affiliated with Kamar Taj. Although we will do nothing if you reject our proposal, we will, however, not be the last ones to approach you. Your powers are simply too strong for any organization to leave you alone. There are several unscrupulous organizations who will stop at nothing to make you join them. Each of them have their own agenda and would try to brainwash you to make you join them. Professor Xavier explained the danger I was in. Moreover, they could even try to hurt your family because of you. We can help you in protecting your family if you join us, as we are partnered with the government. I could see what kind of position I was in. Please wait a moment. Saying this, I went out of the living room. Then, I sent a message to Ancient One through a communication spell asking her to visit after giving her information about my situation. The situation was so serious that I could not decide alone. So, I decided to bring Ancient One in to explain that I was already a part of Kamar Taj. So, what do you think about my offer, Peter? Professor Xavier asked after I returned. I am glad to receive your offer, but I am already part of a different organization. I decided to tell the truth as Ancient One was going to visit in a few moments anyways. Suddenly, I felt an intrusion in my mind which caused my instincts to go haywire. I felt an image of a dragon roar in my mind against the intrusion. It was similar to the one I had seen before when I was meditating. Soon after the dragon appeared in my mind with a roar, the mental intrusion disappeared from my mind after being struck back. Ah! Professor Xavier let out a roar of pain, revealing that he was the one who tried to enter my mind. However, the damage was already done. Because of the sudden intrusion, my illusion spell was shattered due to the counterattack, revealing my true appearance. Furthermore, as a result of my instincts going wild, my arms had transformed into claws, emitting red lightning. Charles, hadn't you said that the boy's powers were still developing? Logan suddenly questioned. So, we are now finally into the X-Men arc. Also, there is a reason for Peter's powers acting like a mental shield which will be explained later. Chapter 33. Chapter 33. How can Professor Xavier know about Spider Supreme? It simply shouldn't be possible. There could only be one way. Spider Supreme had returned to this dimension and had done something which attracted the attention of Professor Xavier and his friends. It seems that he was indeed the one who had given you these powers. Professor Xavier deduced from my surprised expression that Spider Supreme was indeed that someone. How do you know him? Ancient One asked, contemplating the return of Spider Supreme. A mutant girl we were trying to recruit had encountered him. We were having difficulty recruiting her as she was quite materialistic. She wanted to use her powers to quickly become rich and thus rejected our offers. However, later we found her at our door unconscious. After a body check we found that not only had her mutant powers were enhanced but she had also went through a secondary mutation. Professor Xavier explained the whole debacle. It was worth wondering why Spider Supreme would give her such powers. When we talked to her, we found that she had encountered that guy. She told us that when she tried to read his mind, she could not even feel it. As if there was nothing there. Then, that guy made her unconscious with a tranquilizer. When she woke up, she was with us. From what I had learnt from my studies so far, this incident could have very dangerous conclusions. If she could not even find his mind, then it was either because he simply was not there or was so advanced in mystic arts that her power could not even reach him. Moreover, her secondary mutation was a physical mutation despite her powers being telepathic. Thus, it is important for us to know about such a person who can give anyone such powers. It was indeed a very weird situation, although quite similar to mine. This time, however, Spider Supreme didn't even ask her and just gave her powers after making her unconscious. Just what was he trying to do? Are you guys still searching for him? Ancient One asked Professor Xavier. Of course we are. Logan replied in a rough tone as if it was obvious. We have to search for him. Someone who can give anyone such powers and then just disappears afterwards. We simply can't let him go without knowing his agenda. Professor Xavier explained his reason. Then, I advise you to stop the search immediately. You will simply never be able to find him. Ancient One advised Professor Xavier. Why can we not find him? Professor Xavier looked puzzled after hearing her advice. Because he is someone from a different dimension. Moreover, a sorcerer supreme like I am. Ancient One revealed the reason, shattering their worldview once again. Another dimension? Professor Xavier mumbled. All of them fell silent for quite some time. It was rather normal as their worldview was shattered twice in a matter of few minutes. Can you figure out his intentions as he is also a sorcerer supreme? Professor Xavier asked after much thought. When we talk about parallel dimensions, one can't assume a person's behavior using his counterpart for comparison. Someone who is a great person in this world can be just a common person in a parallel dimension. All I can say is that as a sorcerer supreme, his intentions can't be evil. Ancient One said after some thought. I guess we will not learn more about him in the short term. Professor Xavier decided to end this topic for now as it was going nowhere. Anyways, it seems that Peter wouldn't be joining us. Professor Xavier said sadly. That's not specifically true. Ancient One said, interrupting his words. Is it still possible for Peter to join us? Professor Xavier said, his voice filled with hope. Actually, Peter's admission in Kamar Taj was due to Spider Supreme. As such, he has much more freedom in his duties and is not restricted as much compared to other sorcerers. So, it is entirely possible for Peter to join your school. Ancient One explained my special situation. So, Peter, would you like to join Professor Xavier's school? I believe it will be a unique experience for you. Ancient One asked me if I wanted to join. I would like to if you don't mind, Ancient One. I believe that it would be a rather nice change in environment, if nothing else. I was rather lonely back in Kamar Taj, often spending my time only in studying and practicing the mystic arts. Hopefully, I'll make some friends this time. Then, I welcome you to Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, Peter. Professor Xavier welcomed me, this time as my future teacher. Of course, don't forget that you are still a sorcerer of Kamar Taj. You will often need to return to continue your studies. Ancient One reminded me. After it was confirmed that I would join Professor Xavier's school, Uncle Ben suddenly spoke. Say, how do your students study their regular classes? From what you have told us so far, your school only focuses on teaching your students about their mutant powers. Uncle Ben asked, concerned about my studies. It was obviously because I was already absent from my classes for more than 2 months. Actually, our students continue your studies in a local school. We only provide training in mutant powers and hostel facilities. Professor Xavier explained about his school's facilities. Uncle Ben, you don't need to worry. I have already decided to change to distance learning course for the rest of the year. I explained my plan to Uncle Ben. But you know that the school only provides a distance learning course in case of a medical emergency where the student can't continue their studies in the school for the rest of the year. Uncle Ben asked, worried about my plan. Don't worry, Uncle Ben. I will convince the school authorities. Besides, the school can't just let their star students suddenly disappear from it. I tried to convince Uncle Ben that I could do it. Very well. This time Uncle Ben relented because he knew that I could already pass my final exams given my intelligence. Actually, I was going to do this from the beginning even if Professor Xavier had not visited. It simply was not possible for me to continue school when I had to give most of my time to mystic arts. Well, it seems that everything has been settled. Then, I will take my leave. Ancient One stood up, ready to depart. Please wait a moment, Ancient One. Professor Xavier stopped Ancient One. If it is possible, we would like to collaborate with Kamar Taj. Given the nature of your expertise and your knowledge regarding mutants, I believe it will be a beneficial experience for our students. Professor Xavier suggested a bold proposal. I will think about it. Ancient One said only this much before creating a portal to leave. Well, guess who is this character? She will play an important role in the story. Also, be ready for a Kamar Taj school trip in the future. I don't know much about distance learning course, especially in America, but just assume that it works in this universe. Also, I have an announcement to make. From now on, there will be no chapters on Tuesday and Friday. I know that everyone likes daily chapters, and I could even do them with some difficulty. But I am afraid that I will not be able to maintain the quality of my chapters if I do so. I am truly sorry for this. I have received a lot of love from you readers. As such, I want to give you quality content as well as try my best to deliver a true Marvel experience. Chapter 34. Chapter 34. Peter Parker, although I am overjoyed to meet the top student of my school again, I think it would have been better if we had met in better circumstances. Currently, I was at the principal's office at Midtown High, discussing with the principal Bill about my application for the distance learning. Is it really necessary for you to take the distance learning course? Is there no other choice? Principal Bill asked me seriously. It is, sir. I can already ace the final exams. As such, I believe that I should give my time to more important things. I explained my reasoning to the principal. It is not because of bullying in the school that you are leaving it, right, Peter? If it is, I sincerely apologize for the trouble you have went through because of our negligence. It was only when you disappeared and an investigation took place that we knew that you went through such excessive bullying. I can't believe that we were so negligent that our top student went through such bullying. It is too much humiliating for our school. Principal Bill further went on saying how my bullies had been punished and that if I was afraid of bullying, there was nothing to worry about and I could return without any fear in my heart. Honestly, it was sickening for me how the teachers often dismissed my pleas about bullying. They always said that it was tough love and I should fight against it myself. The bullies targeted me because despite looking like a weak guy, my future was secure. I was the top student and even an intern at Oscorp. So, they bullied me because they were simply jealous of me. You know, Peter. It is rather humiliating for us to have a top student taking the distance learning course, especially after an investigation revealed how much he was bullied. It gives the message that we can't teach properly. Well, given the letter I have received from Professor Xavier, along with the emails he had sent me with a few other reputable professors, I have no choice but to accept your application. Principal Bill finished his words with a sigh. The letter and emails were support Professor Xavier had given me so that my application would be approved without any complications. After Principal Bill realized that he could not prevent me, he reluctantly went through all the procedures and transferred me to the distance learning course. As everything was completed successfully, I stood up and was about to step out when the principal's voice rang from behind me. For all that is worth, Peter, I am truly sorry for all the bullying you went through during your time in the school. He sounded genuinely remorseful. It is all in the past now, Principal Bill. That is all I said before leaving the office. Gwen had indeed said the truth when she had told me that I had changed too much. I had truly changed during these few months. Without even including my powers, I was now a sorcerer of Kamar Taj and a mystic martial artist of Ta Lo. I was no longer the old Peter Parker. As I left the school's gate, I didn't have leave immediately but instead waited at the gate because I wanted to meet someone. Soon, the school bell rang and students started coming out of the school. I immediately started searching for my best friend, Harry Osborn, as I had heard from Gwen that he constantly pestered her every day to find about me. Puny Parker, is that you? What was this bastard doing here? In front of me was my main bully of my school days, Flash Thompson, along with his girlfriend, Liz Allen. Come now, Flash. It is now where to talk to Peter after he has returned after so much time. Liz tried to calm Flash down. Do you know how much I suffered because of him, Liz? The police took me from my house deep in night and interrogated me for hours. When the school found how much I had bullied Peter, they decided to deduct my marks in the final exam. I was this close to being thrown out of the school. My whole future can go downhill because of this bastard. Flash was truly furious, ranting out how much he was unfairly treated. I would only say that he got what he deserved. But still, I would have to thank Captain Stacy next time I meet him for grilling Flash. And it seems that Principal Bill was not lying when he said that they were punishing the bullies. You should at least be happy that he returned safely after his sudden disappearance. Liz continued to attempt to calm Flash despite her words having no effect. By the way, Peter, you look quite good with these new muscles. Have you been hitting gym lately? Was I hallucinating? Did Liz Allen just flirt with me? Well, she was always the flighty kind of girl. My illusion spell could only change my face and not my overall appearance. As such, she must have been attracted by my new body. Damn it, Peter. You have only arrived and are already trying to steal my girlfriend. Flash, angry upon seeing me, and somehow thinking that I was trying to steal his girlfriend, tried to punch me. Of course, with my martial arts training, I easily dodged his punch. However, he continued trying to punch me while I only evaded in order to not cause an accident at the school. Stay still, loser. Flash said in anger while trying to hit me. You are truly a muscle brain, Flash. Why would I stay still so that you could hit me? I taunted Flash. Unfortunately, the taunt was too successful. You bastard. I am going to fuck you up right here and then go and fuck your Aunt May. Flash insulted Aunt May in anger, knowing how close I was with her. As soon as I heard it, it seemed like something snapped inside me. Without thinking of any consequences, I struck at his abdomen with a palm strike. Ah! Flash actually flew backward some distance before crashing into the ground as he was hit by my palm strike. Fortunately, I had managed to control my strength at the last moment. Otherwise, Flash would have died from that single strike. Ah! Pooh! Puny paw! Parker! Flash moaned in pain as he laid on the ground and could not even say anything properly. Well, it seems my strength may have slipped a little. Flash will probably have a few cracked ribs. Peter! Is that really you? I looked in the direction of the voice to see Harry running towards me. Chapter 35. Chapter 35. Before I could say anything to Harry, he rushed towards me and enveloped me into a tight hug. You all right? Flash didn't hurt you, did he? He asked me in a worried tone. I laughed as I heard him worrying over me. He was always like that, trying to look over me. In fact, he was the one who started our friendship. Calm down fast and then look around you properly. Now tell who was hurt. I told Harry, prompting him to look at Flash lying down on the ground still moaning in pain. How were you able to beat him so badly, Peter? Harry was obviously surprised to find that I had beaten Flash, considering that previously he didn't even feel my hits. We will talk about Flash later, Harry. Where were you until now? I was waiting for you for quite some time, I inquired. He was busy pestering Gwen about you, Peter. Before Harry could answer, Mary Jane's voice was heard replying from behind us. Both of us looked back to see MJ and Gwen approaching us. Do you know, Peter? He regularly pestered Gwen about you. His pestering had gone so bad that everybody thought that he was trying to date Gwen. MJ told me how relentless Harry was. But what could I do? No one else in the school knew as much about Peter as Gwen did. And seeing her relaxed and trying to make new friends, I knew that she obviously knew about you. However, she wouldn't tell me a single word about you. Harry defended himself. Now that you are here, Peter, tell me, where were you exactly? Harry asked seriously. I will tell you, but not here. Follow me. What had happened with me was obviously something I could not tell publicly. As we started to walk away, I looked at Flash was still lying down on the ground. Hey, Liz. Take Flash to the infirmary and tell him to use his brain more in the future if he knows how to. I instructed Liz, who looked like she didn't know what to do. All of us piled into Harry's car, a gift from his father. Under my direction, we arrived at a nearby park. As it was still afternoon, there were not many people here. Still, to be safe, we decided to talk in a secluded corner. Now, no one is around us. Can you tell me now, Peter? Harry asked impatiently. Wait a moment first. I casted an isolation barrier which will prevent anyone from seeing and hearing us. What the hell was that, Peter? Harry was surprised upon seeing me cast a spell. Well, Harry, you were asking what had actually happened. I will tell you the truth now. I became a mutant. I began telling him the cover story. Although Uncle Ben and Aunt May along with Gwen, Professor Xavier as well as his friends knew the truth, the less people knew about this matter, the better. Harry was silent for a few moments, digesting my words, but then spoke. Was what you did now your mutant power? He asked curiously. No, actually it is something else. No matter how powerful a mutant's ability was, nothing could beat magic in its versatility. Alright, don't get surprised by what you see next. I dispelled the illusion spell, revealing my true appearance to Harry. What the hell? Peter, is that really you? Despite being warned already, Harry was obviously surprised by the sudden change in my appearance. How could I otherwise know that you had literally begged your father for that car? I reminded him of an incident which only both of us knew. Hey! We agreed that we would never talk about this. Harry responded back in an angry and embarrassed tone. Now, you believe I am Peter? I asked Harry with a smile. Of course. How can I not? Ha ha ha. Harry started laughing despite the seriousness of the situation, and along with him, all of us. Then, I started telling Harry the whole cover story. How my powers were quite unstable when my X gene first awakened, but fortunately the sorcerers of Kamar Taj sensed my powers and saved me. And since then, I was at Kamar Taj learning magic and training my mutant powers. As Harry contemplated what he had learned from me about how I was a mutant and magic was real, MJ suddenly spoke. Peter, I am sorry, but me and Gwen have to leave for band practice. She looked apologetic as she said. It's all right. We are only going to have a boys' talk anyways. There was no need for the girls to stick around for us. After the girls left, Harry spoke. So, can anybody learn magic? He asked curiously. Upon hearing his question, I smiled. As his best friend, I knew why he had asked such a question. Although Harry tried to always look like a chill guy, I knew that inside he felt insecure. Due to his father's high expectations and him not being able to achieve them, Harry had an inferiority complex. Although anyone can learn magic to some degree, becoming a sorcerer is a lifelong commitment. You have to leave your everything behind. I am an exception because of my mutant powers and some other circumstances. I answered his question frankly. Oh, so, I guess I can't learn magic. Harry said, dejected. Hey, you are good enough as you are. You don't need magic to prove anything. I tried to motivate Harry after he looked dejected. All right. Harry smiled at my words. Afterwards, we continued to talk for quite some time. Shit. It's getting late. I have to meet Father at Oscorp today. As it was getting late, Harry realized that he had a meeting to attend. He looked at me apologetically. You are going to Oscorp. Can you give me a ride? I was also about to go there to meet with Dr. Connors. After meeting with Harry, that was my next stop. Why would I not give you a ride, Peter? You just have to ask. Harry smiled, realizing we could talk for some more time. Chapter 36. Chapter 36. Just what happened here? We were en route to Oscorp when we saw a commotion on the road ahead, and Harry stopped the car because of it. Cars were standing still on the road with the passengers missing while people were running in the opposite direction in panic. "What is happening here, Grandpa?" I asked an old man who was also running in the opposite direction but was rather slow because of his old age. "There is a crazy thief who has got advanced weaponry from who knows where. He has already looted a bank, but he was stupid enough to shoot his own vehicle, causing him to be stranded. So, he is now shooting indiscriminately everywhere with his high-tech weapon in a bid to make an escape route," the old man told us while panting heavily. Before we could ask something more, the old man also darted away like everyone else. I could see in the distance that there was a guy wearing a yellow suit launching some kind of blasts everywhere. He was slowly moving towards our direction. "Let's get out of the road, at least. We should not be open in such situations," I suggested to Harry. Soon, we were in a nearby alley, out of the line of fire. As I saw that bastard launching those blasts everywhere without any care in the world, I felt a surge of anger within me. That bastard had already caused quite a lot of damage to the surroundings and didn't seem to care if people got hurt. He had to be taken down. And seeing that there was no one else who could do it, I would have to do it. "Harry, wait here. I will come back after taking that bastard down," I said to Harry. "But, Peter." Harry was obviously shocked by my sudden declaration. "You don't need to worry, Harry. That guy is nothing. I have faced much greater threats than him. He would not even be able to scratch me," I assured Harry. I put my hand on a bracelet which was on my right hand and activated it. The bracelet emitted a light which engulfed my body. When the light disappeared, I was not in my clothes but a special enchanted combat suit. The suit was black in color with a few red highlights. It had a hood along with a half-face mask which would cover my identity. It was made with the hide of a giant soul-sucking monster along with some dragon scales I had received from the people of Ta Lo. The suit itself was especially optimized for urban combat, while the bracelet was a gift from Hiren's grandfather, as an extra gift for saving his granddaughter. It was used for swift transformation. And the suit was full of various protective enchantments, the most powerful of which was lightning resistance enchantment, so that the suit would not be burnt by my red lightning. There were also some additional enchantments made for various situations I could encounter. It was only possible for the suit to have this much enchantments because it was made from the leather of an interdimensional beast which could contain a large amount of enchantments. I had thought to use this suit first to patrol along with Gwen, but this situation was as good as any to unbox it. Putting on an invisibility spell on myself, I stealthily neared that crazy guy. Now that I was near, I could see what kind of blasts he was shooting. He was using the gauntlets to vibrate the air around him to release powerful air blasts. It was easy for me to recognize it because this method was often used in advanced wind spells. Ha 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 ha. I am Shocker. Who would have thought that my invention would be so powerful? I am going to be rich. The crazy guy identifying himself as Shocker boasted about his gauntlets. As soon as I heard his boasting, I got even more angry. This bastard was shooting everywhere without caring about anyone's life just because he wanted some money. This Shocker had to be put down and quickly. I launched a bolt of lightning at him, just enough to paralyze him. Ah! Shocker screamed as he was struck by lightning out of nowhere. Without giving him a chance to react further, I used a low-powered flash to reach him in an instant. Although I could reach him quickly even without using flash, I didn't want to give him a chance to react. As soon as I reached him, I gave him a rather strong punch, that is by my standards, on his abdomen. Shocker opened his mouth to cry as he doubled back in pain, but I struck him on his chin ruthlessly, ultimately rendering him unconscious. That was quite fast, even by my standards. Looks like the only thing Shocker had going on for himself was his high-tech gauntlets. Without them, he was just a regular human. Well, it's good that I finished him off this fast. Now, let's return to Harry. It is getting late already. Ha! I was about to move when I noticed Shocker's gauntlets. Now that this guy was going to jail, he wouldn't need them. Furthermore, they could be used for evil intentions. So, I think I should take them for safekeeping. I put the gauntlets out of Shocker's hands and moved to a nearby alley. After looking around and saying that nobody was looking, I put the gauntlets into my storage bracelet, and then put on an invisibility spell and returned to the alley where Harry was. "It's done, Harry," I said to Harry as I reappeared. "Damn it, Peter. Don't scare me like that." Harry jumped back in fright as he saw me reappear. "By the way, that was awesome, Peter. You didn't tell me that you also knew martial arts." Harry was truly surprised by how quickly I put down Shocker. "I will tell you later. Let's go now. Otherwise get ready for your father's rage," I reminded Harry as I activated my bracelet to revert to my casual clothes. "That's right. I completely forgot about it after seeing your performance." Chapter 37. Chapter 37. Slow down a little, Harry. We are already late. Rushing wouldn't change anything. In the end, we got late because the incident with Shocker had led to the road ahead being blocked. So, we had to take a longer route. But you know, Peter, how strict my father is. He will surely be angry because of my tardiness. Harry always feared disappointing Mr. Osborne. Just tell Mr. Osborne that we were hanging out so we got late. He would not scold you much once he learns I was with you. I tried to console him that nothing will happen. As soon as we reached Oscorp, Harry jumped out of the car and ran inside the building. Sighing, I entered the building hastily so that I wouldn't be left behind. Sorry, I got late. There was an accident on the way here. Where is my father? Harry hastily asked the attendant on the desk about his father's whereabouts. I would advise you, Master Osborne, to prepare yourself for harsh scolding. Mr. Osborne is very furious today. As soon as Harry heard it, his face paled. He is in Dr. Connor's lab discussing something with him. I will hope for your well-being, Master Osborne. Even the attendant took pity on Harry. That is how furious Mr. Osborne was today. Hey, we can meet both of them at the same time. Once they meet me, Mr. Osborne probably would not have enough time to scold you. I tried to encourage Harry. He just merely smiled upon my words. Dr. Connors, this is not what we were promised. Do you know how much money we have spent on you? What answer will I give to the shareholders? We heard Mr. Osborne raging at Dr. Connors as soon as we entered the lab. The lab was soundproof, so we only heard the argument after entering the lab. Peter, is that really you? Mr. Osborne said, surprised upon seeing me. After all, I was supposed to be indisposed and due to a medical emergency. Peter, I am so glad to see you. However, I believe you have come at an inappropriate time, Dr. Connors said sadly while looking at Mr. Osborne. What happened, Dr. Connors? I asked softly. I will tell you, Peter. When Dr. Connors had first started this research, he said that he will create a miracle medicine capable of regenerating a severed limb. After years of research and near-endless funding, the project is finally nearing its completion. So, we have started testing on life subjects. However, every test was a failure. The animals used as test subjects either died or became horrifying mutated monsters. Mr. Osborne started telling us the matter instead of Dr. Connors. Perhaps he was telling us boys because I was involved in this project as Dr. Connors' intern, and Harry needed to learn this as the heir of Oscorp. So, in this case, the project can be said to be a failure. Dr. Connors is saying that he can fix this, but he demands more funding, which is impossible for us to provide after seeing the project's failure. Now, I could see what the matter was. In the eyes of shareholders, this project was already a failure, while Dr. Connors could not give up this project as it was his life's work. Fortunately, I already had a solution for this whole dilemma. Dr. Connors, may I see your research papers and test results? I had some great ideas while I was away. I asked him for all the result documents he had. Of course, Peter. Why not? You already know most of it anyways. Dr. Connors happily gave his research papers to me. Damn it! I cursed in my mind as soon as I saw the result of the research. The result was so close to the lizard serum I had used that it might as well have been that same lizard serum. No wonder all the animals used as test subjects either died or mutated. Fortunately, I knew how to resolve this matter. During the past few months, whenever I was free, I constantly thought about this research. I knew about most of the research and feared that it would end up as the lizard serum, and that is what happened. So, I was thinking of a way to divert the research so that it would not end up as the lizard serum. And, in the end, I actually managed to create something using the research I had done previously and my enhanced intelligence, which would now help in this matter. Dr. Connors, the power of the serum is too high. I believe that is why the mutations are happening. I said to Dr. Connors after going through the research. But if the power is not this high, the regeneration of the limb will not happen. This is a conundrum without an end, Dr. Connors said while sighing. What if we think of it in another way? I suggested. Another way? Dr. Connors said, surprised by my line of thought. Yes, what if we instead decrease the potency of the serum? Then, although the regeneration power of the serum will decrease, it will be enough to provide a temporary healing factor. This will turn the serum into a medicine incredibly helpful in emergency situations. I suggested my idea. Well done, Peter. It is an incredible idea. I was so focused on the thought of limb regeneration that I never thought about it. Dr. Connors exclaimed happily. But then, suddenly his face saddened again. However, in the end, this new stream of thought will still require much research and funding, which is now nearly impossible. He said sadly. That's not true, Dr. Connors. I have already completed much of the required research. As soon as the thought had struck my mind, I had started working on it. With the help of my enhanced intelligence, the formula was already near complete. I immediately started writing the main points of my research on a board in the lab. After finishing writing, when I looked back, I saw that Dr. Connor's jaw had nearly dropped literally. That is how shocked he was. Peter, that is incredible. I can see that you have already completed most of required research for this new serum. Dr. Connors was so happy that he hugged me with tears in his eyes. The formula needs a little sharpening, but I believe that we can start live testing in a few weeks. And if the tests are successful, we can launch the product in just a few months. Now he sounded truly optimistic. I was really happy that I could help him. Well done, Peter. Who would have thought that you would save this project single-handedly? Mr. Osborne said as he patted my shoulder proudly. Peter, I promise you. If this research is successful, I will give you a few shares in Oscorp. I was awestruck by his declaration. Shares in Oscorp. I had never even thought in my dreams that I would have shares in Oscorp. I can't take this, Mr. Osborne. It is Dr. Connor's research. Although his offer was incredible, I could not steal Dr. Connor's credit. It is not that I will not get any shares, Peter. So, don't be shy to take it. You deserve it, Peter. Dr. Connors supported Mr. Osborne's decision from the side. Harry, you understood any of what Peter said? Mr. Osborne suddenly asked Harry, who are just listening from the side. Of course, I did. Peter used Dr. Connor's research to create the framework for a serum which will provide temporary healing factor, and he has already completed most of the required research. Harry gave a summary of everything I had said. Damn. Harry. I did not think that you could actually understand it. Harry's grades were just above average after all. Hey, don't say so. I am a bit of a scientist myself. Ha 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 ha. All of us started laughing at Harry's joke. I am glad I was able to help Dr. Connors and Mr. Osborne. When I had started this research, I just wanted to stop another lizard incident. Who would have thought that I would manage to make something so incredible? Chapter 38. Chapter 38. All ready, Peter? Ms. Ororo asked as I put my suitcase in the car's trunk. All right, I am ready. Let's go, Ms. Ororo. I replied to Ms. Ororo as I sat in the car. Today was the day I was finally going to join Xavier's school for gifted youngsters. It would have been much earlier, but Dr. Connors dragged me into the research for the new lizard serum, leading to a delay of a week. I could have gone to the school using a portal, but Ancient One had forbidden it. She had said that going to new place could be very risky for a new sorcerer even if they knew the specific coordinates. One could open a portal high in the air, or even deep into the ground. And I was only now properly learning the advanced portal arts. As such, it was not necessary for me to take a shortcut when I could easily go there within a few hours. Thus, I had to go there physically. When Professor Xavier's side had heard about it, Ms. Ororo had volunteered to pick me up. By the way, Peter, I heard that you got delayed because you were involved in a very special project in Oscorp. How did that happen? Ms. Ororo asked curiously. Actually, my father was a dear friend of Dr. Connors, who is the head of the project. When he saw that I am as intelligent as my father, Dr. Connors took me as his intern. I answered his question. But you have to quit it because of us, right? She asked sadly. No, actually I had gone to Oscorp to quit, but I ended up helping him more than I had thought I ever could. Really? Ms. Ororo asked amazed. Ever since I obtained these powers, my intelligence has been actually enhanced, so I had done some of my research on my own while I was in Kamar Taj. This research ended up helping Dr. Connors, whose research was stuck. That is why I had to stay for a week to help him, as I was the one who had furthered the research. I explained to Ms. Ororo in a layman's terms as the progress of the actual research, and its actual direction was a business secret. That's incredible, Peter. Finally, we have someone smart among the students. All the other students except Jean are what I would say only average in their studies. Ms. Ororo praised me for my intelligence, causing me to blush. Say, Peter, all the students we have recruited are actually in your age group. I hope that you will make some new friends when we arrive. Ms. Ororo said optimistically. I don't know. Back in the school, I was just a shy nerd, making me an easy target for bullying. But now, after I have gained these powers and trained in Kamar Taj, I am a much different person from before. So, I don't know if I will be able to make any new friends. Then, I believe you will definitely make some new friends there. Ms. Ororo said, chuckling. Really? I was surprised by her answer. Everyone there has a completely different personality from everyone else. Their life has changed quite a lot since they awakened as mutants. Yet, they all have become great friends with each other. She assured me that I would have no problem making friends. As we talked, we soon arrived in Bayville, where Professor Xavier's school was located. "This is the place, Peter," Ms. Aurora declared as we entered a mansion. "Really? Professor Xavier runs his school in a mansion?" I was stunned to know that Professor ran his school in an actual mansion. "That's right, Peter. Welcome to the X-Mansion." As we entered the mansion, I could see Professor Xavier and Mr. Logan waiting for us along with 6 teenagers, 2 boys and 4 girls. The boys included a guy wearing red-lensed sunglasses indoors and a blue-haired boy. The girls, however, were quite a diverse lot. There was a red-haired beauty and a cheerful-looking brown-haired girl who gave the vibe of a girl next door. These 2 girls, however, were the simpler-looking ones. There was a girl who gave a completely goth vibe. She even had a white streak in her hair along with dark-shaded makeup on her face. And the last girl was quite a stunning one. She had silver-white hair like mine along with beautiful blue eyes. "Everyone, meet Peter. He will be joining us from today onwards." Professor Xavier introduced me to everyone. "Hi. Nice to meet you." "Hello." I was given quite a greeting from some of the students. Especially, the red-haired girl and the cheerful-looking girl along with the blue-haired boy gave me quite a warm greeting. "Now, why don't all of you introduce yourself to Peter?" Professor Xavier asked all the students to introduce themselves. Scott Summers, the boy with sunglasses, introduced himself. "Nice to meet you, Peter. I hope you play nice around here, unlike a certain someone," Scott said while looking at the blue-haired boy. He seemed to be the authoritarian type, and it felt like he had a grudge against the other guy. Kurt Wagner, the blue-haired boy, introduced himself. "Nice to meet you, Peter." At last, the girl-to-boy ratio is a little more closer. Finally, Scott is not the only guy besides me. Kurt definitely seemed to be the playful type. Jean Grey, the red-haired beauty, introduced herself. "I hope we can get along, Peter." Jean welcomed me warmly. "Catherine Pride, but only call me Kitty," the cheerful girl said, introducing herself. She definitely seemed to be a carefree girl. "Rogue. That is all you need to know," the goth girl said when it came her turn. From her attitude, it was clear that she didn't want to get close to anyone. "Emma Frost. That's all," the silver-haired beauty said. Looking at her expression, it was clear that she didn't want to be here. "So, what is your power, Peter?" As soon as the introductions finished, Kurt asked me excitedly. "Be a bit more patient, Kurt. But first, deactivate your hollow watch." "What have I told you about wearing it in the mansion?" Professor Xavier gently ordered Kurt. "Do I have to do it, Professor?" Kurt clearly didn't want to do what Professor had ordered. "Yes, Kurt, you have to do it. Because that is who you are," Professor Xavier said to Kurt softly. Reluctantly, Kurt deactivated the watch on his wrist. And then in front of me was Kurt, who definitely didn't look like Kurt. He now had blue skin along with a tail. Kurt looked at me as if expecting a look of repulsion. "Do you not hate how I look?" He was clearly surprised by my calm expression, which had not changed a bit at his transformation. "Well, I am not much different from you." Saying this, I removed the illusion spell from myself. Since I was going to stay here, I would naturally have to reveal my true appearance. Might as well do it a little earlier. "Wow! You are similar to me," Kurt exclaimed as I also hid my true appearance like him. Suddenly, I received a premonition out of nowhere, and in response my right hand had turned into a claw and was moving towards a place in my surroundings instinctively. Although I now had control over my instincts, it was only in a general situation. In emergency and urgent situations like this, my body still moved according to my instincts. As my claw headed towards the respective direction, Kurt suddenly appeared where it was headed. No doubt, his sudden teleportation had triggered my instincts. Startled, I tried to stop my attack, but the momentum was too strong. Fortunately, I was able to slow the attack enough that Kurt could teleport again to escape it. He reappeared where he previously was, taking deep breaths because of what he had just experienced. "You shouldn't have done that. My instincts are too strong. There could have been a serious accident." Chapter 39. Chapter 39. I am sorry, really sorry. I was just too excited to meet someone like me who also hid his own appearance. I didn't think this would happen. Kurt was apologizing fervently to me. "There is nothing to forgive, Kurt. It was me who overreacted. So don't be sad, okay?" I tried to console Kurt. After all, the fault laid with me. I reached where Kurt was and extended my fist towards him. "Just be a little more aware of one's personal space next time, Kurt." "Sure, dude." With this, he bumped his fist with mine, a camaraderie forming between us. "Say, your hand turned into a claw when you attacked." Was that your power, Peter? Jean asked curiously. It seems that she was quite an observant one. You could say that. With a casual flick of my hand, I once again turned it into a claw, this time however, emitting my signature red lightning. The room fell silent as everyone watched my red lightning curiously, their eyes shining with wonder. Wow! Is that lightning actually red in color? It looks so cool and also unique. Moreover, it complements the black scales on your claw completely. Kitty exclaimed at the sight of my red lightning. It should be said that everyone here was quite tolerant about mutant powers, even if they were mutants themselves. If I had shown anyone my black-scaled claw anywhere else, most of the people would have been either afraid of me or disgusted. But here, all of them were instead fascinated by it. Hey, Peter, can you transform the parts of your body at will? Kurt asked curiously. Yeah, I can. Why? It was quite a unique question. But that is not fair. You can switch off your mutation at will while I am stuck in this form, Kurt said sadly while referring to his own appearance. Kurt, how many times I have said that there is nothing wrong about how you look. You are a normal human no matter how you look, Professor Xavier said, telling Kurt he was not different from others. That is right, Kurt. You don't need to worry. We are with you. Kitty gave her support to Kurt by giving him a hug. That's right, Kurt. You don't need to be ashamed of yourself. One by one, everyone present gave their support for Kurt. Even Rogue and Emma, who had been silent till now, gave their support for him. Thank you, guys. All of you, Kurt said happily with misty eyes. He must have faced quite some discrimination before joining Professor Xavier's school. Still, it was good that he now had such great friends. Say, Peter, why did you take a completely different appearance when you look so handsome? Only your eyes are slitted, which have to be hidden, Kitty asked curiously. Yeah, I have never seen any guy as handsome as you. And trust me, with my appearance, I have seen a lot of guys who have confidence in their appearance. Emma, the silent beauty, suddenly said in support of Kitty's words. Well, I only recently gained these powers which caused my appearance to change to how I look now. It has only been a few months since then. So, it is still difficult for my friends and family to adjust to my new appearance. Besides, it turns too many eyes and I don't want to attract so much attention. Also, any friend of mine would never be able to recognize me as Peter. Emma looked genuinely surprised by my answer. Well, that is truly surprising. Most of the guys I know would have used this appearance to have girls flocking towards them, she said bitingly. From her tone, it was clear that she didn't have any good previous experience with any guy. Well, it is better that I do not know such shallow girls who only follow someone because of their appearance, I replied back. This could be said to be one of the benefits I had as someone who was generally ignored by the girls. I could easily observe their characteristics and personalities from their behavior towards me and the others. So, when did Professor Xavier make the hollow watch for you, Peter? Jean asked me curiously. I actually didn't use a hollow watch to change my appearance, I replied to Jean. But that is impossible. Without it, how did you change your appearance then? Jean looked confused by my answer along with the rest of the students. It is because I used magic. I said the truth, suddenly revealing the existence of magic to them. All the students seemed flabbergasted by my answer. Although they were mutants themselves, the existence of a mutant could still be explained scientifically. Magic, as such, was only fantasy for them. Magic, does it really exist? Do you know anything about this, Professor? Jean, it seems, was truly an intelligent girl, as Ms. Aurora had said, because she immediately asked Professor Xavier once I told them about magic. After all, only Professor Xavier could answer their questions about magic, considering he had recruited me. Believe me, Jean, I would not have believed that magic actually existed if I hadn't seen it myself. Professor Xavier assured everyone that magic actually existed. Peter, why don't give them a show with your magic? Professor Xavier asked me politely. With pleasure, Professor. Since Professor asked for a show, I decided to give them a true magic show. As such, I used a spell which was generally useless in most cases. As I casted the spell, several small ball-shaped flame constructs appeared in the air. Then, I moved the flame constructs in the air, all the while increasing and decreasing the energy in them. It looked like several stars were moving in the air while twinkling. This was the spell, Twinkling Stars. As the flame constructs moved in the air, I could see how amazed everyone was by the spell. It was a spell which was generally used for training in the flame mystic arts. Apart from lightning, I also had great talent in flame attribute. So, I had learnt this spell obviously for training. Do you believe me now? I asked them as I ended the spell. Magic is amazing. Can I learn it too? Kitty asked me with literal stars in her eyes. Well, everyone has some aptitude for magic. But becoming a sorcerer is a lifelong duty. You have to leave your everything behind. I am just an exception due to certain circumstances. It pained me every time I had to tell someone that they could not learn magic. But unfortunately, it just was not meant for them to learn it. Oh, so I guess I can't, Kitty said sadly. I could more or less guess what she was feeling. It was like showing a child a candy and then telling him he can't have it. Peter, Emma, who had been watching my show of magic silently until now, suddenly spoke. You are a sorcerer yourself. Have you ever heard of a sorcerer who wears a suit with web-like design? He also wore a red cloak fastened by an eye-shaped brooch. Chapter 40. Chapter 40. When I had revealed that I was a sorcerer, I was already ready to be questioned about the Spider Supreme. Moreover, I had already talked to Professor Xavier regarding what could be told to the students and what not. Although he himself didn't know the actual truth regarding Spider Supreme. Professor, is Emma the one who encountered that guy? I inquired. Yes, Peter. She is the one. Professor Xavier confirmed, but it was already obvious from Emma's question. So, you have indeed met him, Emma said, visibly excited. Hey, is that really Emma? She is often the more reserved type of girl, Kurt muttered to Jean from side after seeing Emma's excited expression. So, how do you know of him, Peter? Emma continued her questioning. How can I not know him? After all, if it was not for him, I wouldn't even be alive, much less here. Huh. Emma was surprised by my answer. What do you mean? I mean that it was actually that guy who gave me these powers, just like how he had enhanced your powers. I explained. Wait a minute. Scott, who was listening from the side, suddenly interrupted our conversation. If that mysterious guy gave you these powers, does that mean that you are actually not a mutant? Scott, it seems, was quite a perceptive person, as he had instantly picked up on my words and understood that my powers were actually given to me. No, Scott. That is not true. Peter is indeed a mutant. That I can assure you of, Professor Xavier said once he heard Scott's words. Does that mean that what Peter showed us was actually a secondary mutation like that of mine? Emma questioned, curious about the nature of my powers. No, that is not it, either. Peter's X gene is currently dormant, Professor Xavier explained with a slight smile. It seems that he was pleased by his students' questions. But then how did you find him, Professor? Cerebro can only pick up a mutant if he uses his mutant abilities, Jean questioned, revealing a name, Cerebro. Professor Xavier had said that he had detected me using a special machine. It seems that the machine's name was Cerebro. It is because Peter's X gene is quite a unique one. Despite it being dormant, its presence is powerful enough to be detected. Professor explained the unique condition of my X gene. We have hypothesized that the powers Peter received have interfered with the X gene, causing such a phenomenon. Hey, you were telling me about that mysterious sorcerer. Tell me now. Don't change the topic, Emma said demandingly. Looks like she was frustrated by the change in topic. All right. I will tell you. Actually, he was the one who left me to the sorcerers after giving me these powers. I started explaining about Spider Supreme. We do not know much about him other than that he calls himself Spider Supreme. The only thing we can predict from his actions is that he doesn't seem to have any ill intentions. Professor Xavier had strictly said to me to not reveal that Spider Supreme was actually from a different dimension. According to him, it was useless information for students and would only divert their attention. I somewhat agreed on this topic with him. Anything else? Emma continued to probe. She was quite insistent regarding Spider Supreme. Well, that is all I know. And that is only because Spider Supreme had contacted Ancient One, my mentor, so that she could pick me up and take me in as her apprentice. I had to lie, unfortunately, but it was necessary. Spider Supreme was a guy from a different dimension with unknown motives. As such, knowing more about Spider Supreme would only be harmful for her. Fine. Emma finally relented, seeing she would not learn anything more from him. Suddenly, I felt a mental intrusion in my mind. And in response to it, an image of a dragon once again formed in my mind in order to counterattack. I tried to control the counterattack to lessen it, but unfortunately was not much successful. Ah! Emma let out a cry of pain, revealing her to be the culprit. Looks like she tried to read my mind to find out more about Spider Supreme. You all right, Emma? Kitty quickly reached Emma and tried to help her calm down as she clutched her head in pain. Sorry, I tried to lessen the counterattack but was not successful. I apologized for causing her so much pain. Counterattack. Emma, you once again tried to read someone's mind without their permission. How many times have Professor Xavier taught you not to do something like this? Scott immediately scolded Emma once he realized what had happened. Dude, I know that you are quite an upright person, but there is time for everything. Shut up, you jerk. Don't you see how much pain she is in? Kitty snapped back at Scott, which was, to be honest, expected. By now, everyone had gathered around Emma. Professor Xavier and Jean immediately tried to soothe her mind using their telepathy. Peter, don't blame Emma too much. Kitty said to me once Emma's condition looked stable. She had grown up in a very repressive family. So, she ran away from them. After that, she had to earn everything on the streets. So, she is very grateful to Spider Supreme for enhancing her powers without asking for anything. That is why she wanted to learn more about him. Because she wanted to find him and thank him. Kitty explained Emma's life to me so that I would not blame her. Hey, I didn't tell you my life story so that you could tell it to everyone. Emma rebuked Kitty. Her condition had surprisingly healed quite faster than anyone had expected. But if I didn't tell them, then everyone would have hated you. You are already not liked much by everyone, Kitty said softly. You didn't need to, Emma said to Kitty despite now having a smile on her face. All right, everyone. Professor Xavier drew the attention of everyone to him. I think it is about time for us to visit the danger room. Danger room? What's that? We need to analyze Peter's powers. We already had 2 incidents today already. I do not want a third, Professor Xavier declared. Chapter 41. Chapter 41. Professor, what is this danger room? I asked curiously. You will know when you see it, Peter, Professor Xavier said while smiling enigmatically. Follow me, everyone. Under Professor's guidance, we entered deep into the mansion and eventually stepped onto a spiral staircase going downwards. When we reached the end of the staircase, I was surprised by the sight before my eyes. I had anticipated a spacious basement as it was after all the basement of a large mansion. But what stretched out before me was nothing short of an underground bunker. Its vastness defied all of my expectations and the term basement seemed woefully inadequate. Is that a fighter jet? I was surprised to see a fighter jet of all things as we continued into the bunker. Yes. That's the X-jet. Professor Xavier started explaining about the jet. Before we started the school, I along with Logan and Aurora used it as a primary mode of transport while going on some government-sanctioned operations. Logan and Aurora still use it sometimes even now, Professor Xavier said wistfully. He seemed to remember his past as he explained the history of X-jet. As we continued, we finally reached our destination, which appeared to be some kind of high-tech control room. Welcome, everyone. A blue-skinned, furry guy wearing a lab coat, who has obviously a mutant, greeted us as we reached the control room. Ah, you must be Peter. It is always nice to meet a new member. He raised his large blue-furred hand towards me for a handshake. Honestly, he looked like a humanoid, blue-colored lion. It's good to meet you too, mister. As I shaked his hand, I realized that he did not introduce himself. Oh, how could I forget to introduce myself? Guess I was too excited. I am Hank McCoy, the resident scientist of this school. However, everyone calls me the Beast. He ended his introduction with a large grin which surprisingly suited him. Well, the name suited him because his appearance reminded me of the Beast from the Beauty and the Beast movie I had seen some time ago. Only he was blue-colored and a scientist instead of a prince. By the way, Peter, is your current appearance due to your mutation? Mr. Hank asked hesitantly. Yes, it is, Mr. Hank. May I ask why? It is just that I was curious. Would it however be possible for you to give me a few drops of your blood? He asked kindly. I could give it to you, Mr. Hank. However, my blood is impossible to be analyzed by scientific equipment. I had already tried it earlier when I had time at the Oscorp lab. My blood was too much charged with magical energy to be analyzed by any equipment. Is that so? Mr. Hank muttered sadly. Hank, we will have time to talk later. For now, we need to use the danger room. Professor Xavier stopped our conversation and uttered our motive for coming here. Peter, you are asking me what is danger room, right? This here is the danger room. He took me to the glass windows in the control room to show the danger room. Outside, I could see an expansive metallic field, larger than a football field, full of several weird equipment. Danger room is a special training facility of our school we use to train our students. Professor Xavier finally explained what was danger room. Generally, we only use the lower levels to train our students, which consists of obstacle courses and holograms. Well, that didn't seem too dangerous. However, I had discussed this earlier with Ancient One when she had called me earlier. She has given me permission to use the higher level which Logan and Aurora use. She quoted that it would be shameful for you not to use this level after so much training. Well, then what are we waiting for? I said, excited. Now, this was something interesting. Because I was busy helping Dr. Connors the whole week, I didn't have time for a good workout. This was just perfect. You ready, Peter? Mr. Hank's voice sounded from the control room as I stepped into the danger room ready to start. Born ready, I said confidently. Very well. Saying these words, Mr. Hank activated the danger room. A wall slid away and robots entered the field. They immediately moved towards me using the skates they had for their feet. Moreover, several turrets appeared all over the field and started shooting lasers at me. For any untrained person, even if they were a mutant, it would have been a difficult situation. But for me, it was nothing much. I immediately launched some weak lightning bolts. Well, weak by my standards, to finish them off. I had now enough control over my powers that I could launch these weak bolts repeatedly like a machine gun. It seems that this much is nothing for you, Peter. So, I am increasing the difficulty. Mr. Hanks sounded again, warning me. As his voice sounded, the floor beneath me started to move like an escalator while some parts of the floor rose above the ground like pillars. Several turrets appeared on the pillars ready to shoot at me. Now, that is something that would require some effort. I unfurled my wings and flew while shooting at the turrets. Are those actual wings? Mr. Hank's voice sounded from the control room in a low tone. Looks like he was surprised upon seeing my wings. It seems that I would have to release our ace. Be glad, Peter. It is not every day we get to release the Sentinel. Mr. Hank warned me that he was releasing the ace of the danger room. Another wall slid away and a giant robot walked into the danger room. Its hands ended with barrels, revealing they were actually laser weapons. Furthermore, even more laser turrets appeared while the obstacles started moving faster, and some more robots also appeared behind the Sentinel. Well, let's hope it requires at least a little more effort. Excited that I had finally a worthy opponent, I created a lightning spear crackling with my unique red lightning and hurled it at the Sentinel. However, the lightning spear pierced through the Sentinel as if it was butter and left a large hole in its chest. Had it been too weak, or was it I was too strong? If it was later, then Ancient One had my greatest respect for facing these lightning spears of mine every day as if they were nothing. Stop. Stop. The testing is over. Mr. Hank hysterically spoke from the control room. Just like he had said, the danger room was now deactivated with every robot and equipment switched off. Could you not have held back your strength a little? Do you know how much it would cost to repair a Sentinel? Mr. Hank's despair could be felt from his voice, even through the speaker. Sorry. I didn't realize that, I said sheepishly. Chapter 42. Chapter 42. The morning sun was just beginning to peek over the horizon when I stirred up from my sleep. My eyes fluttered open to an unfamiliar ceiling. It took me a moment before the events of the previous day flooded back. I had joined Professor Xavier's school finally yesterday. The memories of yesterday made me smile subconsciously. Yesterday had been quite a chaotic day with more than a few accidents. Fortunately, everything had somehow fallen into place by the end of the day. Still, the friends I had made yesterday made it all worthwhile. Gathering myself, I got up and freshened up for the day ahead. Then I went to the garden in the X-Mansion. The X-Mansion had quite spacious garden. As the morning sunlight fell on the grass stained with dew, it seemed as if there were pearls on the field. The garden looked quite beautiful, a perfect place for some morning exercise. Taking a position, I went through the martial forms Master Ing Nan had taught me. This was something I did every morning ever since I returned from Ta Lo in order to make sure my martial skills remained robust and sharp. Suddenly, I felt a presence near me. Looking around, I saw Mr. Logan approaching me. Hey bub. What's up? Do you train like this every day? He asked me curiously. I nodded. Yes, I train in my martial arts every morning. Logan's eyes narrowed a bit after which he spoke. You seemed unsatisfied with your workout in the danger room yesterday. How about a spar, you and me? Just hand to hand, no powers. Sure, why not? I accepted his proposition without any hesitation. As he had said, I was still unsatisfied that I could not let loose yesterday. Soon both of us took our positions and began our duel. As our fists connected, I was surprised to find that Mr. Logan's strength neared my own. Although my strength was much higher in my draconic form, it didn't mean that in my human form, I was weak. Well, it just made it easier for me to spar with Mr. Logan properly. As we continued fighting, our fists continuously colliding with each other, I had a grasp on Mr. Logan's fighting style. Although it looked like he had some kind of training, He mostly fought with reckless abandon. Honestly, his style reminded me of how I used to fight all the way back when I had first arrived in Kamar Taj, a wild and instinctive one. As we continued fighting, I was quickly able to find an opening due to Logan's wild style and struck at his side. However, because I was worried that I would hurt him, I struck him with much less force than I could have used. But it seems that Mr. Logan understood my intentions as he immediately disengaged. His eyes flashed dangerously as he unsheathed his claws. "Hey, bub. Don't underestimate me," he warned. "Just because you are strong doesn't mean that I can't take a hit. Fight me properly, damn it." All right. I won't do this next time." Naturally, I conceded after his warning. We continued our spar, our movements a blur of agility and strength. Although Mr. Logan took quite a lot more hits than me because of his wild style, he didn't look any worse. Moreover, whenever I hit him, it felt like I was hitting a metal plate. "All right, I think that is enough for today," Mr. Logan said, stopping the spar. "Let's stop so that we still have enough energy for the rest of the day. By the way, where did you learn how to fight like this, Mr. Logan?" I asked curiously. His smile faded upon hearing my question. "I don't remember," he said sadly. "You don't remember?" I was completely surprised by his answer. When I woke up, I was in a secret lab, nearly a blank slate. Fortunately, I know I shouldn't be there and in that way. So I slaughtered my way out of there. At that time, I already knew how to fight like this. Mr. Logan explained his past to me. He revealed how later Professor Xavier found him and offered him a place. Since then, he was a part of Professor's group. Even now, after so many years, I have only learned that I am more than 100 years old, he said sadly. 100 years old. Seriously, Mr. Logan looked like he could not be more than in his early 40s. I was thinking of how to offer my condolences when the space in front of us shimmered and Kurt and Kitty appeared in front of us. As soon as they appeared, Kitty immediately spoke. "Both of you stop fighting." At her words, Logan and I shared a glance and then burst out laughing. "We were just sparring, Kitty," I reassured her. "I knew it. You are just worried for nothing, Kitty," Kurt said to Kitty chidingly. "You know, Peter. She woke me up when she saw both of you sparring," Kurt complained to me. "Hey, I was just scared to face both of you alone. Both of you were fighting so fiercely," Kitty muttered angrily. "Say, Peter, you will be joining us in the school, right?" Kitty asked me suddenly. Looks like she was trying to change the topic. "Actually, I will not be joining you all. I have already taken a distance learning course from my school. So, I will not be going to any school from now on." I replied to Kitty's question that I would unfortunately not be joining them in the school. "What? That's not fair. So, you will be just sitting around in the X-Mansion while all of us will be in the school," Kurt said, surprised by my answer. "That's not true. Instead of going to school, I will be at Kamar Taj where I will be learning mystic arts for the whole day. Besides, I am not attending my school only because I have already finished all of my studies." I clarified that I would not be just sitting around. "And here I thought that you had managed to escape the hell that is homework. Looks like you also have it rough, dude," Kurt said upon learning about my situation. We were continuing our conversation when suddenly Jean's voice came from the mansion. "Everyone, return now. Breakfast is ready." As we returned to the mansion, I realized that maybe this new school will not be anything bad. Although I had been here for only a day, I was already making friends despite the students here being quite quirky with their special abilities. Chapter 43. Chapter 43. Magic circles revolved around the shock gauntlets I had obtained from Shocker after defeating him, analyzing the gauntlets and how they worked. Shocker may have been a crazy thief, but he sure knew how to craft a good invention. Just by using some vibration and shock-related tech, he managed to create a powerful weapon. The shock gauntlets were a weapon powerful enough that I could personally use them, although not without heavily modifying them. I immediately took out a bunch of blank papers and started writing the modifications and enchantments I would have to perform on the gauntlets before they were combat ready. First of all, I would have to use some enchantments to enhance the power of the gauntlets. Although the gauntlets were already quite powerful, they just were not enough for me to use because of how powerful I was. Moreover, I would also have to put a psychic trigger enchantment on it. Currently, it worked on thumb trigger, which would not be enough in high-speed combat. Furthermore, all these enchantments could not be performed on the current framework of the gauntlets. I would have to obtain some specially enchanted metals next time I went to Kamar Taj in order to fortify its structural framework. There should also be a channeling disc on the palm area of the gauntlets, otherwise it would be difficult for me to use magic and release lightning bolts through my hands. Now that I was reminded of my lightning, I should also put some lightning resistance enchantments on it so that it doesn't get destroyed the first time I unleash a lightning bolt wearing it. Now, this is something I can use, I said as I completed the final sketch of the blueprint. This marvelous product does, however, deserve a name. Let's call this Dragon Claws for now. Just as I was adding the last touches on the blueprint, I heard a knock on my room. Peter, you there? Emma's voice came from behind the door. Give me a few minutes, Emma, I called out and hastily finished the last touches. Then, I opened the door to find Emma calmly waiting for me. Sorry for making you wait. Huh? What is this? Emma's gaze drifted behind me to the blueprints on the desk which I didn't have time to remove. What are you doing, Peter? She asked me curiously. Just a new project I am working on, I replied nonchalantly. I will show you when it is complete. Our initial interaction had not been the smoothest, what with Emma trying to read my mind and then receiving quite an intense backlash. However, to my and everyone else's surprise, Emma had humbly apologized to me the very next day, leaving all of us shocked as she was quite an aloof one. According to Kitty, it was because Emma found me interesting so she had apologized. Over the last few days, we had surprisingly become fast friends as Emma herself was quite an intelligent girl. It was truly sad that Emma's field of interest was business and economics, and she was not much interested in science. Due to her rather soft behavior towards me as compared to a quite sharp attitude towards others, Kitty believed she was romantically interested in me despite both of us never having encroached upon that topic. However, even if Kitty's prediction was true, I was unfortunately not ready to engage in a romantic relationship at the current moment. In the recent months, I had been through a lot and simply was not ready to invest in a relationship yet. By the way, why did you come over? I asked curiously. Professor Xavier has called for us in the conference room, Emma replied. Then, what are we waiting for? Let's go. After all, we had already gotten late because of me. When we arrived, we saw that everyone else had already arrived and we were the last ones. Ah, Peter, Emma, you are here. Come, have a seat. Professor Xavier greeted us warmly upon our arrival. Why did you call all of us, Professor? Kurt asked curiously. Well, I have already informed all of you about the X-Men initiative. Indeed, he had told us about it. It was an initiative under which us mutants worked on some government-sanctioned operations which are difficult for government to perform by themselves, and in return the government provided us support and funding. Generally, only Logan and Aurora went on such operations, but recently they also asked us students for help if our powers could increase the success rate of the operations and if we wanted to help. Although I didn't like someone my age participating in such operations, it would be hypocritical for me to object considering that I had already participated in a dimension invasion. And the others were no glass vase. They also had their powers. Moreover, Professor Xavier had assured us that they would only take us on relatively simple missions, and that our safety would be considered greater than the success rate of the mission. This time, it is a rather simple mission. That is why I called all of you. So that you can learn from this meeting, and be prepared for the time you yourself have to participate in a mission. Professor explained the reason for calling the meeting. He activated the large monitor in the conference room, and the monitor showed the picture of a young boy about our age. This is Bobby Drake, a resident of the Long Island. Recently, it was revealed that he was a mutant. The monitor now showed a new image. Bobby extending his hand towards someone who was encased in ice while a girl screamed near them. Unfortunately, it seems his powers activated in public, thus revealing him to be a mutant. Currently, he has been locked in a local police station for his own safety. Professor Xavier then revealed what was our mission. Our mission is to go in that police station and extract him. If possible, convince him to join our school. Peter, Professor Xavier addressed me, you are quite powerful. Moreover, combined with your magic, you are also quite versatile and can help us if something unexpected happens. I would like you to join us in this mission. All right. I agreed as the mission was quite easy. Since you would be joining us on the mission, have you thought of your code name? If you haven't, you can just use a temporary code name for now. Professor Xavier asked me for my code name considering we could not use our actual names during the mission. Although most of the X-Men had fitting code names, some of them were still using temporary ones since they still hadn't decided on their actual code names. Like how Jean had Marvel Girl and Emma had Silencer. Besides, Scott's codename Cyclops could be said to be a misleading one since Cyclops didn't shoot laser beams. Just call me Drake for now, I replied after some thought. Chapter 44. Chapter 44. I was near the X-Jet which was about to take off for the mission, waiting for the others who are getting ready. In the end, it was decided that Logan and I would take the lead and meet Bobby in order to extract him. The recruiting would take place once we were back safely at the X-Jet. For the backup, Kurt and Emma had been chosen. They would not join us and were only there to help us in retreating in case of emergencies. Kurt's teleportation power, especially, was extremely convenient for extraction and retreat. Emma was joining us because a telepath always comes in handy, even in the most unlikely cases. Originally, Jean was supposed to join us for the telepath position, but she was having some headaches these days. And since Professor Xavier could not go, it was decided that Emma would go. Besides, Emma's powers had increased since her encounter with Spider Supreme. Now, she was not only a telepath but also telekinetic. And her diamond form could protect her in case anything happened. Miss Aurora would also be joining us, but she would be in charge of the X-Jet and would not interfere unless there is an emergency. Soon, everyone who would participate in the mission gathered, each wearing a specially designed uniform with an X insignia on them. Emma, in particular, looked absolutely beautiful, radiating confidence and allure in that skin-tight uniform. "Peter, why aren't you wearing the uniform?" Kurt asked me. Then, a look of realization appeared on his face. "Ah, I had forgotten that you have only been here for a few days. So, your uniform is not ready." He looked sheepish as he realized. "It seems that Professor has not told you that my uniform is always ready." Saying these words, I activated my transformation bracelet. An energy appeared from the bracelet and covered me, and when it disappeared, I was already in my suit. Kurt's jaw looked like it would drop any time as he watched me change into my suit in an instant. "Dude, that's awesome. Magic is so convenient." Kurt expressed his admiration as he looked truly impressed by my show of magic. "You have to make one for me too. You have no idea how hard it is for me to change into my suit because of my tail." Kurt literally begged me to make a bracelet for him. "All right, I will make one for you." I acquiesced in front of his nagging. "Now, everyone listen. I will now explain the plan." Professor Xavier drew the attention of everyone towards him. "The plan is simple. Logan and Bobby will head to the station where Bobby is kept. Logan will guard the area while Peter will enter Bobby's cell and convince him to escape with them. Kurt and Emma will stay close but still far away from the station, observing the whole situation. Aurora will be in X-Jet ready to take off once the objectives are accomplished. Peter, once you have extracted Bobby, regroup with the others and immediately return to the X-Jet." It was a rather simple mission, and not hard to accomplish if there were not any other factors. My portals were the linchpin for the whole mission to be accomplished swiftly. Time is of the essence in this mission. Bobby's mutant status is already public. Make him a prime target. So Peter, go in there, extract Bobby and return as fast as you can. Professor Xavier once again emphasized that this mission needed to be performed swiftly because of Bobby's mutant ability already being public. "Don't worry, Professor. We will accomplish the mission as swiftly as we can," I said to Professor as all of us boarded the X-Jet. "X-Men, taking off," Kurt exclaimed, excited for the mission. "Calm down, bub," Logan chided Kurt, telling him to focus. Logan and I were watching the police station where Bobby was held. The X-Jet was parked a few kilometers away. We could not leave a fighter jet in an open place after all. Meanwhile, Kurt and Emma were on a nearby hill, watching the whole situation. "Say no to the mutants. Mutants are freaks. All mutants must be killed." We could see a small mob in front of the police station chanting derogatory remarks about mutants. "Looks like we must hurry," Logan said to me upon seeing the mob. We made our way to the back of the police station where Bobby's cell was. As I didn't have coordinates regarding Bobby's cell, I had to near his cell so that I could directly open a portal there. "Wait." Logan suddenly asked for me to stop. "What happened?" I asked, surprised by Logan's sudden warning. "I can hear some voices in Bobby's cell. There is someone else in there, talking to him." Logan had enhanced hearing, so it was absolutely possible for him to hear it. I casted a life recognition spell in order to confirm Logan's words. The results confirmed what Logan was saying. There were indeed two people in the cell. "What do we do now?" I whispered to Logan as he was the more experienced one. "Open a portal, not in the cell but near the cell. We need to see who is that other person," Logan ordered. Following his order, I opened a portal and both of us silently entered the police station. "Wait a moment, Logan." I stopped Logan from directly engaging and casted an invisibility spell on both of us. "Magic really is convenient," Logan muttered after seeing the effects of the spell. We stealthily neared the cell where Bobby was. Surprisingly, there was a policeman talking to Bobby. Maybe it was a false alarm. "Young man, you should really think about joining the Brotherhood. You are a mutant, a homo superior. You should not obey those who are inferior to you." Surprisingly, the policeman's words were nothing like that of someone from police service. He seemed to be someone from a mutant supremacist brotherhood. How many times I have told you that I do not want to join your shady, supremacist brotherhood? Bobby said angrily, refusing the policeman's offer. Luckily, it seems that we were not too late. What is this bitch doing here? Logan suddenly murmured. Bitch? That's clearly a man. Chapter 45. Chapter 45. Logan poked me on my side after listening to the whole conversation. It was a signal to retreat momentarily. We retreated back into the hallway. Why did you call us back? Who is that guy, or as you say, a woman? I will tell you later, bub. Just know that she is a very dangerous person. It is extremely fortunate for us to find her here. I need you to shock her to unconsciousness so that we can capture her. She is like a ghost. If we lose her here, who knows when will we ever get a chance? Logan told me that it was extremely important for us to capture her. Having made changes to the plan, we returned to Bobby's cell. So, you will not join the Brotherhood. I am asking for the last time. The policeman, or should I say woman, said to Bobby. It was clear that she was getting frustrated because of a lack of progress. No, I will not. Bobby said resolutely. Looks like he knew what was wrong and what was right. I and Logan could see the disguised woman moving her hand towards her back pocket and removing a taser from it. Then, I believe we must talk, Just as the disguised woman was about to use the taser on Bobby, I shot a lightning bolt at her, thus causing her to be paralyzed and drop the taser. The shock from the lightning bolt had caused her to return to her original form. Surprisingly, her appearance was that of a blue-skinned, red-haired woman. Moreover, she was quite a beautiful woman despite her blue skin. Who is there? Bobby exclaimed, surprised by the turn of events, moving his head around to look for the one who attacked the mutant woman. It was okay for him to be surprised here. After all, a man he was talking to was suddenly shocked and then was revealed to be actually a mutant woman. Hello, Bobby. I said as I removed the invisibility spell from us. At this point, the invisibility spell would only be detrimental for us. Logan, how did you get here so fast? The woman mumbled angry, still paralyzed by my lightning bolt. It seems that she had an enhanced physique. I had shot a rather powerful bolt at her considering that she was a mutant, but she was only paralyzed from it. Bobby was silently watching us, surprised by our sudden appearance and judging who we were. Hello, Mystique. Long time no see. Logan greeted the woman, apparently named Mystique, while laughing. You could not have come here so quickly without me knowing. How did you do it? How did you get here so quickly? By my calculations, there was still quite some time before you would have arrived. Mystique, it seems, was quite surprised by our swift arrival. Well, if not for my portals, we would have likely arrived more than an hour later, and by then she would have long escaped with Bobby. So, it can be said that we were quite lucky this time. You don't need to know. Saying this, I shocked her once again, this time making sure that she was unconscious. Do you think that she has backup? I asked Logan as he knew about her already. I don't think so. She generally works solo. Logan replied. That was good. We did not need to worry that there would be a battle right here. Who are you? Are you also here to recruit me? Bobby asked, guarded against us. Well, to be frank, yes. I replied. Considering what he had gone through just now, it would be good for us to be frank with him. Then what is the difference between her and you? Bobby said, pointing to Mystique, who was currently lying unconscious. This was one smart kid, but unfortunately his smartness could very well lead to the failure of our mission. Damn. She really made convincing Bobby a hard job. And we could not kidnap him despite the urgency of the mission, as it would make his recruitment later nearly impossible to complete. The difference is that the Brotherhood is an illegal mutant supremacist organization, while we are affiliated with the government. We work towards harmony between mutants and normal humans, while the Brotherhood wants to rule over the humans. Logan spoke, telling Bobby the difference between us and the Brotherhood. Why should I believe you? Bobby questioned us. He really was guarded against us after what had happened. Look, kid. We do not have the time for this. First, we need to take you away from here. Then, we can have a talk properly. It seems that Logan was getting angry because of Bobby's continuous questioning. Why should I leave with you? And why do we not have any time? Bobby questioned once again. Because your status as a mutant makes you a prime target for various unscrupulous organizations who will do anything to make you join them. As such, you need to escape hastily. I explained this time as Logan was getting angry. Bobby looked worried because of my words. Would my parents also be harmed? He asked me seriously. They could. I answered honestly. Then I will leave with you. Finally, Bobby relented and agreed to escape with us. I inwardly breathed a sigh of relief as I realized that the end of the mission was finally within reach. It was really hard to get Bobby to listen to us. Logan! Suddenly, a rough male voice came from outside. Logan, I know you are there. I can smell you. Come out right now. The voice came once again, roaring and asking Logan to come out. You will not come out. Very well then. I will slaughter everyone here if you did not come out within a minute. The voice gave us a sinister ultimatum which left us not choice but to obey his words. Damn it! What is this bastard doing here? Logan cursed as he heard the voice's ultimatum. Chapter 46. Chapter 46. You sure are meeting a lot of familiar faces today, Logan. I joked a little to lessen the tension in the air. This is no time to joke, Peter. Logan said seriously. Sabretooth is a truly mad bastard. He would surely slaughter all the protesters who are currently outside the police station if I do not show up immediately. So, that crazy guy was called Sabretooth. He truly lived to that name like a crazy animal. You take Bobby and Mystique to the X-Jet immediately. They are the ones we came here for. I will block Sabretooth for the time being. Logan instructed me. Before I could say anything, Logan ran away towards the outside of the police station in order to confront Sabretooth. I put Mystique on my shoulder and then opened a portal, as per Logan's orders. Huh. What is this? Bobby said, surprised upon seeing my portal. Get in, we have no time. I ordered Bobby. Although it looked like he wanted to say something, realizing the seriousness of the situation, he didn't say anything and entered the portal as per my orders. Peter. What happened? Who is this mutant woman? Where is Logan? And who is that man who has suddenly arrived at the police station? As soon as I emerged from the portal, Emma immediately bombarded me with her questions. That's right. I had not opened a portal directly to the X-Jet but to where Kurt and Emma was. With how dangerous the situation was, Logan would obviously appreciate some reinforcements. I will tell you about the woman later. The man at the police station is a crazy mutant who seems to have a personal vendetta against Logan. He has threatened to kill everyone in the police station if Logan doesn't fight him. Logan has gone out to fight him so that I can deliver these two people to the X-Jet. I will open a portal. Go and reinforce Logan now. I finished everything I had to say in a single breath. Without giving them a chance to speak, I immediately opened a portal. Go now. It seems that they understood the seriousness of the matter as they immediately jumped into the portal. The portal would take them to the back of the police station from where they would go to reinforce Logan. Although I wanted to open the portal directly to the front of the station, I couldn't as the rules of the Kamar Taj forbid any public show of magic unless absolutely necessary. Enter. I said to Bobby as I opened a portal which would take us to the X-Jet. I hope everything would be fine until I returned from delivering Bobby and Mystique. Logan's POV. As I came out of the station, I could see Sabretooth terrorizing the group of protesters. The crowd was trembling and beginning to retreat to a corner. The police had aimed their guns at Sabretooth, but he remained undeterred. Sabretooth looked more like a beast than human with his long shaggy hair, sharp fangs and retractable claws. Although I did not remember anything about my past, for some reason I always felt a deep hatred towards Sabretooth. And Sabretooth also seemed to share this hatred towards me. Whenever we met, he didn't require even a second before he started attacking me. Over the years, ever since I had joined X-Men, I had fought with Sabretooth on several occasions. Although I managed to overpower him every time, he always escaped using vile tactics, often threatening to kill someone like he was doing now. Sabretooth, I am here. I called out to Sabretooth to draw his attention towards me. Ah, Logan. You are finally here. However, I had hoped that you would arrive a little later so that I would have been able to kill at least a few of these pests. Sabretooth said maliciously upon seeing me. Who would have thought that I would find you here just because I had followed Mystique on a whim? Sabretooth cynically remarked. To think this bastard found us because of a fucking coincidence. Talk about bad luck. Anyways, let's see if I can end this cockroach today. Now, enough talking. Today is the day you die at my hands, Logan. Saying this, he abruptly attacked me. In your dreams, Sabretooth. I easily stopped his attack with the help of my enhanced adamantium skeleton. Although his claws left some light cuts on my body, this much was nothing for me. I counterattacked immediately with my claws, stabbing them to wound him at both of his sides. Sabretooth immediately disengaged because of his deep wounds. Even with his healing factor, it would take some time for him to heal them. Although I could attack him at this time to gain the upper hand, I didn't do so because I knew how cruel Sabretooth was. There were quite a lot of innocent civilians here, and he wouldn't hesitate to attack them if it meant getting an advantage. I don't even remember why you hate me, Sabretooth, but don't you think that it is quite useless? After all, you always lose, Sabretooth, don't you? I taunted Sabretooth so that his attention would only be on me. Ha! I know what you are trying, Logan. Trying to protect these pests, aren't you? It looks like Sabretooth saw through my taunt. Let's play a game, Logan. Let's see if you protect these pests from dying at my hands. Saying these words, Sabretooth lunged at a nearby protester. I tried to run to protect the guy, but he was too far. But before Sabretooth's claws could cleave through the poor guy, a blue figure suddenly appeared, wrapped his arms around him, and then disappeared with him just as quickly. Kurt. What was he doing here? How did he get here so fast? Ah, Peter must have sent him. But if Kurt was here, Emma should be nearby too. Ah! Just as I thought about Emma, Sabretooth suddenly clutched his head and let out a roar of pain. Chapter 47. Chapter 47. Logan's POV. As I saw Sabretooth clutching his head and roaring in pain, I immediately knew that it was a psychic attack. I looked around and finally found Emma in an inconspicuous corner of the police station, fiercely attempting to attack Sabretooth's mind. I cautiously approached her and then asked, "Is it working?" Sabretooth has received training to resist psychic attacks. Moreover, his mind is also resistant against psychic attacks for some reason. It is like I am sitting on a wild bull who is constantly trying to knock me off. Emma replied, frustration evident in her tone. It is difficult to control his mind. I was just thinking of my next move when suddenly Kurt materialized next to me. How can I help, Wolverine? Kurt asked, eager to help. Get all the civilians out of here immediately. I instantly instructed him without wasting any time. As long as the civilians were here, it was difficult for us to fight Sabretooth with our full power. Having instructed Kurt to handle the civilians, I readied to engage Sabretooth myself. My attack coordinated with Emma's psychic assault was our best bet to take Sabretooth down. Boom! Before I could make my move, however, a deafening sound of a gunshot rang through the air. I looked around to see that a brave policeman had shot at Sabretooth while he was trying to deal with Emma's psychic assault. Unfortunately, I knew Sabretooth's powers and personality, and this act only played in Sabretooth's favor. The wound caused by the gunshot healed quickly, while the pain caused by it only helped Sabretooth focus his attention through the mental assault towards the person who shot him. In an instant, Sabretooth lunged towards the policeman who had shot him. I ran in a bid to intercept the attack, but I was too far from them. Yet, before Sabretooth could reach the policeman, he was struck by a bolt of red lightning. My eyes followed the path of the lightning to find Peter in his unique cloaked outfit. Good, now that Peter was here, it would be much easier to subdue Sabretooth. Against a person like Sabretooth who had a healing factor and fought in close combat, it was better to use long-range attacks to subdue him, which we had a lack of before Peter's arrival. Peter's POV. Looks like I returned just in time. I was delayed a little because we had to tie Mystique properly before I could return. Fortunately, nothing bad happened while I was gone. This much is nothing, Sabretooth said as he roared in pain. I could see Emma in a corner, her hands on her head as she continuously attacked Sabretooth's mind. On the other hand, I could already see the lightning burns he had received after being struck by my lightning healing quickly. Although I had shot a rather weak bolt of lightning in a bid to immobilize him, I had not expected his healing factor to be this formidable. How do we deal with him? This guy is like a cockroach. I asked Logan as he had earlier experience fighting this guy. We can only continue attacking this guy until his mind can't hold out against the double assault against both his mind and body. Logan explained that we had to wear his mind out. There was no other way to defeat this guy. Then, you don't need to attack, Logan. I have an attack which will be painful enough to knock him out. When I had learnt this move, I had never thought that there would come a day where I would have to use it against a human. Be ready, Emma. As soon as I strike him, hit him with your full power immediately, I said to Emma as red lightning started surging through my fist. Emma could only nod her head because she was busy attacking Sabretooth's mind. As soon as the move was ready, I lunged at Sabretooth and struck at his abdomen while dodging his wild strikes. Ah! As I struck Sabretooth, my red lightning surged inside his body through my fist, causing him to scream in pain. Then, soon after, he was knocked out because of Emma's following attack. What I had used now was the move I had learnt back in Ta Lo. Combined with my red lightning, it was quite a cruel move. If I had used it at full power, the opponent's body would be torn apart and burnt by my red lightning coursing through it. Although I had used it at quite a less amount of power, many of Sabretooth's nerves would have still been fried by my attack. You did great, bub. Who knew how much time we would have taken to subdue that cockroach if you were not here? Someone could have gotten seriously hurt during that time. Logan congratulated me as he patted my back. Now, let's move. We have already got quite delayed, Logan said to us as he hoisted Sabretooth over his shoulder. All of us let out a collective sigh of relief that this chaotic mission was finally going to be over. We made our exit from the now quiet police station. Once we were in an area free of any people, I opened a portal and all of us were there in front of the X-Jet. You all right, Emma? I asked Emma as we boarded the X-Jet. After all, she was the one who was constantly attacking Sabretooth's mind. I am all right, Peter. Just need a little rest. You don't need to worry. Still, thanks for asking. Emma replied to me with a slight smile. Although the mission was quite chaotic, I am glad that everyone is safe, Aurora said to us from the pilot's seat. Seriously, when I saw Peter returning with Mystique, I was quite surprised. Then, I learnt that Sabretooth was also here. Do you all know how worried I was? Ms. Aurora had been truly worried when I had reported to her what had happened. If Peter had not stopped me saying that I needed to watch over Mystique, I would have seriously joined the battle. I am so glad that all of you defeated Sabretooth without any injuries. Ms. Aurora likely felt guilty that she could not help us in such a dangerous battle despite being nearby. Still, now that everyone is here, it is time to take off. All of you, sit down and ready your seat belts, Ms. Aurora ordered as she started the X-Jet. As the X-Jet flew into the sky, my first mission was finally over. Chapter 48. Chapter 48. Yesterday in Long Island, at around 3 p.m., a very dangerous mutant criminal named Sabretooth stirred up chaos by attacking a local police station there. All of us were watching news at the television in the living room, which was currently showing the yesterday incident, which showed how us mutants managed to save a lot of people from the claws of Sabretooth. The police station at that time was filled with a mob of anti-mutant protesters who were there due to the presence of a recently discovered mutant who was detained at that police station. Sabretooth had attacked the police station due to the presence of another mutant named Wolverine. Wolverine was supposed to be at the police station in order to rescue the young mutant, when Sabretooth found him likely because he was there for the same reason. Sabretooth and Wolverine are sworn enemies who are recorded to have fought each other whenever they encountered each other. But what makes Sabretooth dangerous is extremely heinous personality. He had actually tried to kill all the protesters at the station right in front of Wolverine. Fortunately, Wolverine was not alone. There was a group of mutants who were with him who stopped Sabretooth fortunately from killing anyone and finally subdued him. We thank this group of mutants who stopped Sabretooth from committing such a cruel and heinous act. The news went on to show the highlights of our battle where we subdued Sabretooth. Especially, my last punch which knocked out Sabretooth was shown repeatedly. Wow! We are famous! Woohoo! Kurt exclaimed. He was quite happy to receive such fame on the television. Go, go, Team X-Men! I am glad that the mission was successful without anyone getting hurt. But still, we made quite a lot of noise this time, Scott said to me, concerned about the coverage we were receiving because of the incident. But there was nothing else we could do. First, that woman Mystique tried to recruit Bobby, and then this Sabretooth suddenly appeared, threatening to kill everyone if Logan didn't show up. We simply didn't have any other choice but to fight, Emma replied after hearing Scott's words. Still, we don't need to worry much. This incident actually worked in us mutants' favor since Sabretooth is a known criminal. Besides, the government will also show the incident in our favor, I said, reminding them that this incident, in the end, will only help in increasing the harmony between humans and mutants. Although we have not been able to identify the other mutants, this was actually the second time the cloaked mutant who used red lightning was seen. The news started reporting what they knew about me. The first time he was actually seen was when he defeated the thief, Shocker, who had high-tech weapons. The news channel went to show how I had knocked out Shocker in just a few moves and then disappeared after taking his gauntlets. Peter, it was actually you who defeated Shocker? Emma asked, surprised as she saw the news. Yeah, it was me, I admitted readily. But you do not look like someone who does vigilante work. Emma said what she had understood about me. Because my Uncle Ben has always taught me that with great power comes great responsibility. Everyone was stunned by my answer. Well, that's a good ideology to live by, Scott said after hearing my answer. Yeah. Everyone agreed with Scott at this point. Ring. Ring. Suddenly, there was a call on my phone. I looked to see that it was from Aunt May. Hello, Aunt May, I said as I picked up the phone. What is this I am seeing on the television, Peter? Looks like she realized who the cloaked man in the news was. What were you even doing there, Peter? Aunt May demanded. It was not supposed to happen like that, Aunt May. We were just supposed to go in and come out stealthily. Sabretooth destroyed the whole plan, however. I explained to her what exactly happened. Just promise that you would try not to do something like that, okay? Aunt May asked seriously. I will try, Aunt May. I said that I will try in a bid to convince her, but given my powers, it was a sure deal that I would once again get involved in these matters. Looks like our dragon actually fears someone, Kitty said teasingly to me after seeing how much I feared Aunt May. All the while, everyone looked like they were trying to stop their laugh. Ring. Ring. There was once again a call. This one was from Gwen. You all right, Peter? She asked immediately, worried about me. I am all right, Gwen. I explained to her what happened exactly. After that, we talked for some time before ending the call. That was not the end of the calls, however. Harry's call came next. You were awesome, Peter. Then came the call of MJ. Didn't know you could fight like that, Tiger? Finally, after a talk with MJ, the series of calls ended. You are quite famous today, Peter, Jean said teasingly. What can I say? They are all just worried about me. I was actually glad that they called me. Buzz. Buzz. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. It was actually surprising as very few people visited the X-Mansion. I will go see it, Kitty said and went to answer the door. Trouble. Big trouble. Kitty suddenly came back screaming soon after. She looked a little shocked. What happened, Kitty? Jean asked worriedly. There is a man in suit at the door along with a few armed individuals, Kitty said, surprising all of us. What the hell were armed individuals doing at the door of the X-Mansion? We need to tell Professor immediately. Scott was calm-minded in this unique situation and told us what we should do. There is no need. I am already here. We looked back to see Professor Xavier approaching us along with Mr. Logan and Ms. Aurora. Do you know anything about these armed individuals, Professor? I asked. Yes. They are from S.H.I.E.L.D. They are here to pick up Sabretooth. He explained the actual situation. Just Sabretooth? I asked. Yes, just Sabretooth. Professor replied in affirmative. What about Mystique? I asked curiously. I have some other plans for her which I will tell you later. Now, all of you, go to your rooms. I need to deal with the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Professor Xavier ordered us after saying that he had other plans for Mystique. Chapter 49. Chapter 49. Ow! 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 Bobby exclaimed in pain as he was struck by rubber balls in the danger room. Although our initial meeting was not good because of his encounter with Mystique, Bobby had decided to join our school in the end after a heartfelt conversation with his parents and seeing on the television how we had subdued Sabretooth and prevented him from killing anyone. But Bobby's powers were still juvenile and rather unstable, so he was currently training in the danger room's most basic level where he was shot with various rubber balls. I can do it. Restart the machine again, Bobby said with bravado as he was once again pelted by rubber balls. Balls once again shot towards Bobby, and he once again tried to stop them with his ice powers. But this time, instead of forming an ice wall to stop the rubber balls, Bobby actually formed a layer of solid ice over a rubber ball. Afraid of being bruised by the iced ball, Bobby closed his eyes in fear. Fortunately, Jean, who was there to keep an eye on Bobby, stopped the iced ball from hitting him using her telekinesis. This is going nowhere. The kid will not learn anything from this, Logan said as he watched Bobby being continuously pelted by the rubber balls. Then what do you suggest, Logan? Aurora asked for Logan's advice. He needs to feel more pressure. Mutant powers work more accurately in the stressful situations, Logan suggested. But this is already the most basic level. After this is the obstacle course and then the robot fight, which Bobby is definitely not ready for. Ms. Aurora countered Logan's proposal. Why don't I try? I have a great idea. I suddenly interrupted their conversation. What is it, Peter? Ms. Aurora asked curiously. I have learned a new spell which I think will be perfect to train Bobby. So, should I try? It was a rather unique spell and I had learnt it out of pure curiosity. Sure, why not? Professor Xavier gave me the permission to try. Hey, why did you stop? Huh. Peter, why are you here? Bobby asked me curiously as he saw me enter the danger room. I have to applaud his endurance as he was still raring to go after being pelted so many times. I will be taking over the training from now on, I replied. But your power will literally fry me. Bobby seemed to be quite afraid of my lightning after seeing me shocking Mystique. Don't worry. I will not use my lightning. After saying these words, I immediately casted the new spell, Roar. Upon casting the spell, several translucent dragon-like creatures, around 6 feet in height from head to tail, materialized in the room. I could hear the gasps of surprise from the control room after seeing these unique creatures. This was my new spell, Spectral Wyverns. It was a variant of the Spectral Warriors spell which Ancient One had used on me on our first encounter. I was actually learning the Spectral Warriors spell, but when I used the spell, instead of the warriors, these wyverns appeared for some reason. Still, upon testing, these wyverns were surprisingly stronger than the warriors. Bring it on! After the initial surprise upon seeing the wyverns, Bobby was raring to fight them. But as the wyverns lunged at Bobby, he actually panicked. However, in a desperate attempt to defend himself, Bobby's powers worked surprisingly well, freezing not only a few wyverns but also a sizable area around him. Now this is something. Come on, It seems that Bobby became a bit overconfident after freezing the wyverns, but when the rest of them came, his powers actually didn't activate, causing him to have no choice but to run around the danger room. The rest of the training period was spent with Bobby running around most of the time, and actually fighting and freezing the wyverns the remaining time when his powers actually worked. What was, that power? How did you create those creatures? Your power is that red lightning, right? Bobby asked, panting after the training session ended. Peter. That new spell was amazing. Before I could answer, Kitty came with everyone and excitedly hugged me while asking me about my new spell. Hey Kitty. I think you are making Peter uncomfortable, Emma said chidingly to Kitty. No way, was Emma actually jealous? Well, the answer is that I was using magic. I am also a sorcerer along with a mutant, I answered Bobby. It was something he was bound to learn after joining our school. Bobby was obviously surprised, but he spoke after a few moments. Say, is there a special condition to learn magic? He asked curiously. Sadly, I had to shatter Bobby's dreams as I told him the rigorous conditions required for someone to become a sorcerer. Seriously, whenever I told anyone about magic, they would ask if they could learn it, and I would have to unfortunately shatter their dreams. Honestly, it made me feel too bad. So, I guess I can't become one, Bobby said dejectedly after getting his dreams shattered. Yeah, it was a bummer for us too, Jean said in a bid to console Bobby. By the way, Peter, next time you go to Kamar Taj, can you look over the books regarding telepathic and telekinetic mutants? My headaches are worsening these days, Jean asked me pleadingly. Looks like the matter was serious enough that she was asking me to look about it at Kamar Taj. That's not actually necessary, I answered. Professor Xavier has actually been talking about a collaboration with Ancient One. Last time I went to Kamar Taj, I learned from her that the talk is nearly finished. So, we will soon be going on a field trip to Kamar Taj. You can talk about your headache there directly to Ancient One, Jean. I relayed the good news. Wow, that's great news, Jean said, happy to hear the good news. Chapter 50. Chapter 50. Take care, Professor. We will be going now. Kitty bid farewell to Professor Xavier as all of us readied ourselves for departure. Today was the day we were finally going to Kamar Taj for collaboration. Although it had been described as a collaboration, it was actually more or less a field trip. Don't worry about us. Take care of yourself and enjoy the trip, Professor Xavier said to all of us students. It had been decided that Professor Xavier and Logan would remain behind at the school along with Mr. Hank, while Ms. Aurora will lead all of us students as our teacher during their absence. Okay, Peter. Open the portal now. We are ready, Ms. Aurora instructed me once all of us were ready for the trip. All right. I obliged, creating a portal for everyone to enter. As all of us stepped through the portal, Kitty could not hide her surprise at the sight before her eyes. Before our eyes was a building with a nameplate which read 177A Bleecker Street. Far into the distance, several skyscrapers could be seen. There was no sight of the mysterious order hidden in the Himalayas, bustling with sorcerers, which I had described to everyone. Hey, this is just New York. You said that you were going to take us to Kamar Taj, Kitty said accusingly to me once she realized that we were actually in New York. Calm down, Kitty. Let me explain. I urged her to calm down. We sorcerers can't open a portal directly to Kamar Taj unless it is an emergency. The building we are standing in front of is the base of Kamar Taj in New York, the Sanctum Sanctorum. We will take a portal from here which will take us to Kamar Taj. Now, do you understand? I asked Kitty after explaining the actual procedure. I understand. But you should really have told us before. Kitty finished her words with a pout. Soon, we were all inside the Sanctum Sanctorum, ready to finally enter Kamar Taj. Whoa! Everyone except me marveled at the vast collection of artifacts which were shown as decorations in the sanctum. Even I was in awe, but I hid it better as it was my second visit. Peter, are all of these magical artifacts? Emma asked me, curious about all these decorations. Some of them are. The others, however, are security measures. So, don't go touching anything. Even if what you touch is an actual artifact, it could be a cursed one, or it could be sealed with an offensive magic formation. I warned everyone because I was aware of their curious nature, especially Kurt and Kitty's. Peter, do you think the sorcerers would be able to help me control my powers? Rogue asked me worriedly as we made our way through the sanctum. Don't worry. Everything will be all right. I reassured her with a smile. It had been quite difficult for Rogue to trust me with a knowledge of her mutant powers. She had been quite hesitant but had finally told me after receiving support from everyone. I had been truly surprised when I had learnt about her mutant power. To think that she could absorb powers from other people, and it was even one which activated just on touch. This explained why she always seemed so distant. She just didn't want to hurt anyone and was also afraid of being discriminated against by others. After all, her power was quite a unique one even amongst mutants. When I had learnt about Rogue's plight, I had actually tried to test her power by touching her in a bid to learn more about it to see if I could help her somehow. Unfortunately, the results had been terrifying. As soon as I touched her skin, my instincts went into overdrive. I had almost unleashed a lightning discharge but had somehow managed to stop myself. It was that terrifying. In the end, I didn't manage to maintain contact for more than a few seconds. Surprisingly, Rogue had not gained much from our experiment. She had just grown a few scales and could create a few red sparks, that was it. I also didn't feel like I lost much. Although the result was a little interesting, in the end, we got nothing from the experiment. Hence, Rogue's hopes laid on the sorcerers of Kamar Taj. Her powers were such rare and powerful that a rookie sorcerer like myself was not experienced enough to help her. You don't need to worry. I didn't tell you before, but they actually have an artifact which they had given me so that I could restrain my strength back when I could not control it. Seeing that Rogue was still feeling gloomy, I told everyone about the time I had to wear a restraining belt. I had not told anyone about this fact before because it was too damn embarrassing. So, you had to basically wear a diaper for months. Scott remarked while laughing as he heard about the time I wore a restraining belt. To think that this guy actually knew how to laugh. After all, this was the first time I was seeing him actually laughing. In the end, everyone laughed and the gloomy atmosphere which had been created because of Rogue's words was cleared. Soon, we reached the end of our destination where a sorcerer was waiting to take us to Kamar Taj. Master Wong. I greeted Master Wong as I recognized him. Greetings, everyone. I am Master Wong, a master sorcerer and the librarian of Kamar Taj. Master Wong introduced himself to everyone. It seems that Ancient One had sent him because I was most familiar with him. Now that everyone is here, let's depart to Kamar Taj. Saying this, Master Wong created the portal to Kamar Taj. As we stepped through the portal, we could see various apprentices continuously trying to create portals near where we had arrived. We had actually arrived in the training yard. Now that I think of it, my first introduction to Kamar Taj was also at the training yard. It seems that Ancient One welcomed everyone to the world of magic through the training yard. After all, it was the only place where one could see a large amount of sorcerers performing spells. While everyone else was in awe, Ancient One arrived along with a group of sorcerers. Hello, young mutants. I welcome all of you to Kamar Taj. Ancient One greeted us. Chapter 21. Chapter 21. As I stepped out of the portal and entered Kamar Taj, I should have felt happy. After all, I had returned to Kamar Taj after a whole month of secluded training which could easily have been much longer. But as I remembered what I had promised to Master Ing Nan under the shimmering moonlight by the tranquil lake yesterday, my heart only felt burdened by a sense of duty. I resolved to further my study in mystic arts more seriously so that I could complete my studies early and return to the outside world as early as possible. As I entered Kamar Taj, I saw that Ancient One who had opened the portal was watching me with surprisingly a smile on her face. It was rare to see such an expressive emotion on her face, as she often represented herself as a calm and collected person. Congratulations, Peter. Ancient One congratulated me first on my completion of martial arts training. When I had sent you to Ta Lo, I had thought that I would not see you again for at least 6 months. That was how serious your condition was. So, imagine my surprise when Master Ing Nan called me yesterday with a communication spell that you had completed your training already. Just from her expression, it could be seen that Ancient One was very proud of me. As your teacher at this moment, I am truly proud of you. As Ancient One praised me, I could feel a sense of pride inside me. After all, it was the best gift for a student that his teacher was proud of him. Alright, that is enough. It is time to check your progress. Create a portal. Ancient One immediately started her examination as soon as she finished praising me. Although, it was quite typical of her as she was a hard master. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Then, I opened my eyes, which shone with determination. With a not so little amount of trepidation, I created a portal. As Ta Lo was a sealed dimension, it was not possible to create a normal portal there. So, it was the first time I was creating a portal after I completed my training. When I had first created a portal, it was completely formed of red lightning and soon imploded. But this time was different. It was quite similar to a normal portal, which had a fierce orange glow. The only difference was that it had a slight reddish hue and little sparks were emitting from it. Seeing my success, I cheered mentally. Although my happiness could easily be seen as I was smiling quite brightly. Well done, Peter. It seems that you have finally mastered the basics of mystic arts. Now, you are ready to advance in your study of mystic arts. Ancient One gave the results with a faint smile. I know that you are quite anxious to contact your family, but you can call them at night. Now, go to the library and ask Master Wong for the next part of mystic arts. Ancient One ordered. Greetings, Master Wong. I greeted Master Wong as I entered the library. Peter. Welcome. When I had heard that you had completed your training in Ta Lo early, I was truly happy. Master Wong praised me. Ancient One asked me to collect the books of mystic arts now that I have completed my basic training. I asked Master Wong. Well, that was the purpose of your training. Wait a second. I will bring them to you in a moment. Master Wong asked me to wait as he opened his portals. These books should be what you want. Master Wong showed me the books he brought. As I read their titles, they were books about advanced energy constructs, barrier spells and shield spells. But one book surprised me. Basic Elemental Arts? I asked Master Wong, surprised. Although most sorcerers of Kamar Taj do not have any affinity in elemental arts, I believe that with your powers, you should be able to learn them. After all, your unique red lightning is already quite astounding. Master Wong explained the reason. This stage is where sorcerers start specializing in a particular mystic art. The books I have given you are only the compulsory ones. Do you want to learn any other mystic art? Master Wong asked me. I want to learn enchantment. When I had first seen enchantment described in the introductory books, I had already been fascinated by this special mystic art which could be used to create powerful artifacts. You are interested in creating artifacts. But enchantment is quite a demanding mystic art. Would you have enough time to devote to enchantment? Master Wong asked me. Don't worry, Master Wong. I think I will manage. I assured Master Wong that I would have enough time to study enchantment. If you think so, Peter. Master Wong said and brought me the introductory book to enchantment. See you later, Master Wong. I bid him farewell and started to leave the library. Wait. Master Wong asked me to wait suddenly. What is it, Master Wong? I asked him, confused about why he stopped me. He showed me a leather-bound book which was covered in runes. The title read Thunderclap and Flash, and the author was Master Zenitsu Agatsuma. I wanted to give you this. Master Wong passed the book to me. Thunderclap and Flash. What kind book is it, Master Wong? I asked him. It seemed to be about a lightning spell. This book contains a mystic art which was created by a master of Kamar Taj who trained in Ta Lo. As it is a unique mystic art, it has a lot of requirements before one can use it. As such, it has always been ignored by the sorcerers. Master Wong explained the origin of the book. However, given that you also trained in Ta Lo and your exceptional lightning attribute, I believe that you can learn this special mystic art. Master Wong expressed his belief in me that I would be able to learn this unique mystic art. Thunderclap and Flash. I wonder just what kind of mystic art it was. After return to my lodging, I could not control my curiosity and sat down to read what this book was about. Thunderclap and Flash was written by Master Zenitsu Agatsuma. He was a master sorcerer of Kamar Taj in the early 1600s. Before he joined Kamar Taj, he was a samurai in Japan. As a samurai, he was master of Iajutsu, aka Quickdraw. He used his experience as a swordsman to create this mystic art. The reason this mystic art was so difficult was because it required quite a high lightning affinity to use. Master Zenitsu Agatsuma had a lightning attribute because he was struck down by lightning when he was a child. However, it was difficult for any other sorcerer to have such a lightning affinity, so no one else could use it until now. No wonder Master Wong gave it to me. With my lightning powers, it would be easy for me to fulfill the requirements of Thunderclap and Flash. Chapter 21. Chapter 21. As I stepped out of the portal and entered Kamar Taj, I should have felt happy. After all, I had returned to Kamar Taj after a whole month of secluded training which could easily have been much longer. But as I remembered what I had promised to Master Ing Nan under the shimmering moonlight by the tranquil lake yesterday, My heart only felt burdened by a sense of duty. I resolved to further my study in mystic arts more seriously so that I could complete my studies early and return to the outside world as early as possible. As I entered Kamar Taj, I saw that Ancient One who had opened the portal was watching me with surprisingly a smile on her face. It was rare to see such an expressive emotion on her face, as she often represented herself as a calm and collected person. Congratulations, Peter. Ancient One congratulated me first on my completion of martial arts training. When I had sent you to Ta Lo, I had thought that I would not see you again for at least 6 months. That was how serious your condition was. So, imagine my surprise when Master Ing Nan called me yesterday with a communication spell that you had completed your training already. Just from her expression, it could be seen that Ancient One was very proud of me. As your teacher at this moment, I am truly proud of you. As Ancient One praised me, I could feel a sense of pride inside me. After all, it was the best gift for a student that his teacher was proud of him. Alright, that is enough. It is time to check your progress. Create a portal. Ancient One immediately started her examination as soon as she finished praising me. Although, it was quite typical of her as she was a hard master. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Then, I opened my eyes which shone with determination. With a not so little amount of trepidation, I created a portal. As Ta Lo was a sealed dimension, it was not possible to create a normal portal there. So, it was the first time I was creating a portal after I completed my training. When I had first created a portal, it was completely formed of red lightning and soon imploded. But this time was different. It was quite similar to a normal portal which had a fierce orange glow. The only difference was that it had a slight reddish hue and little sparks were emitting from it. Seeing my success, I cheered mentally. Although my happiness could easily be seen as I was smiling quite brightly. Well done, Peter. It seems that you have finally mastered the basics of mystic arts. Now, you are ready to advance in your study of mystic arts. Ancient One gave the results with a faint smile. I know that you are quite anxious to contact your family, but you can call them at night. Now, go to the library and ask Master Wong for the next part of mystic arts. Ancient One ordered. Greetings, Master Wong. I greeted Master Wong as I entered the library. Peter. Welcome. When I had heard that you had completed your training in Ta Lo early, I was truly happy. Master Wong praised me. Ancient One asked me to collect the books of mystic arts now that I have completed my basic training. I asked Master Wong. Well, that was the purpose of your training. Wait a second. I will bring them to you in a moment. Master Wong asked me to wait as he opened his portals. These books should be what you want. Master Wong showed me the books he brought. As I read their titles, they were books about advanced energy constructs, barrier spells and shield spells. But one book surprised me. Basic Elemental Arts? I asked Master Wong surprised. Although most sorcerers of Kamar Taj do not have any affinity in elemental arts, I believe that with your powers, you should be able to learn them. After all, your unique red lightning is already quite astounding. Master Wong explained the reason. This stage is where sorcerers start specializing in a particular mystic art. The books I have given you are only the compulsory ones. Do you want to learn any other mystic art? Master Wong asked me. I want to learn enchantment. When I had first seen enchantment described in the introductory books, I had already been fascinated by this special mystic art which could be used to create powerful artifacts. You are interested in creating artifacts. But enchantment is quite a demanding mystic art. Would you have enough time to devote to enchantment? Master Wong asked me. Don't worry, Master Wong. I think I will manage. I assured Master Wong that I would have enough time to study enchantment. If you think so, Peter. Master Wong said and brought me the introductory book to enchantment. See you later, Master Wong. I bid him farewell and started to leave the library. Wait. Master Wong asked me to wait suddenly. What is it, Master Wong? I asked him confused about why he stopped me. He showed me a leather-bound book which was covered in runes. The title read Thunderclap and Flash, and the author was Master Zenitsu Agatsuma. I wanted to give you this. Master Wong passed the book to me. Thunderclap and Flash. What kind book is it, Master Wong? I asked him. It seemed to be about a lightning spell. This book contains a mystic art which was created by a master of Kamar Taj who trained in Ta Lo. As it is a unique mystic art, it has a lot of requirements before one can use it. As such, it has always been ignored by the sorcerers. Master Wong explained the origin of the book. However, given that you also trained in Ta Lo and your exceptional lightning attribute, I believe that you can learn this special mystic art. Master Wong expressed his belief in me that I would be able to learn this unique mystic art. Thunderclap and Flash. I wonder just what kind of mystic art it was. After return to my lodging, I could not control my curiosity and sat down to read what this book was about. Thunderclap and Flash was written by Master Zenitsu Agatsuma. He was a master sorcerer of Kamar Taj in the early 1600s. Before he joined Kamar Taj, he was a samurai in Japan. As a samurai, he was master of Iajutsu aka Quickdraw. He used his experience as a swordsman to create this mystic art. The reason this mystic art was so difficult was because it required quite a high lightning affinity to use. Master Zenitsu Agatsuma had a lightning attribute because he was struck down by lightning when he was a child. However, it was difficult for any other sorcerer to have such a lightning affinity, so no one else could use it until now. No wonder Master Wong gave it to me. With my lightning powers, it would be easy for me to fulfill the requirements of Thunderclap and Flash. Chapter 21. Chapter 21. As I stepped out of the portal and entered Kamar Taj, I should have felt happy. After all, I had returned to Kamar Taj after a whole month of secluded training which could easily have been much longer. But as I remembered what I had promised to Master Ing Nan under the shimmering moonlight by the tranquil lake yesterday, my heart only felt burdened by a sense of duty. I resolved to further my study in mystic arts more seriously so that I could complete my studies early and return to the outside world as early as possible. As I entered Kamar Taj, I saw that Ancient One who had opened the portal was watching me with surprisingly a smile on her face. It was rare to see such an expressive emotion on her face, as she often represented herself as a calm and collected person. Congratulations, Peter. Ancient One congratulated me first on my completion of martial arts training. When I had sent you to Ta Lo, I had thought that I would not see you again for at least 6 months. That was how serious your condition was. So, imagine my surprise when Master Ing Nan called me yesterday with a communication spell that you had completed your training already. Just from her expression, it could be seen that Ancient One was very proud of me. As your teacher at this moment, I am truly proud of you. As Ancient One praised me, I could feel a sense of pride inside me. After all, it was the best gift for a student that his teacher was proud of him. Alright, that is enough. It is time to check your progress. Create a portal. Ancient One immediately started her examination as soon as she finished praising me. Although, it was quite typical of her as she was a hard master. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Then, I opened my eyes which shone with determination. With a not so little amount of trepidation, I created a portal. As Ta Lo was a sealed dimension, it was not possible to create a normal portal there. So, it was the first time I was creating a portal after I completed my training. When I had first created a portal, it was completely formed of red lightning and soon imploded. But this time was different. It was quite similar to a normal portal which had a fierce orange glow. The only difference was that it had a slight reddish hue and little sparks were emitting from it. Seeing my success, I cheered mentally. Although my happiness could easily be seen as I was smiling quite brightly. Well done, Peter. It seems that you have finally mastered the basics of mystic arts. Now, you are ready to advance in your study of mystic arts. Ancient One gave the results with a faint smile. I know that you are quite anxious to contact your family, but you can call them at night. Now, go to the library and ask Master Wong for the next part of mystic arts. Ancient One ordered. Greetings, Master Wong. I greeted Master Wong as I entered the library. Ha! Peter. Welcome. When I had heard that you had completed your training in Ta Lo early, I was truly happy. Master Wong praised me. Ancient One asked me to collect the books of mystic arts now that I have completed my basic training. I asked Master Wong. Well, that was the purpose of your training. Wait a second. I will bring them to you in a moment. Master Wong asked me to wait as he opened his portals. These books should be what you want. Master Wong showed me the books he brought. As I read their titles, they were books about advanced energy constructs, barrier spells and shield spells. But one book surprised me. Basic Elemental Arts? I asked Master Wong surprised. Although most sorcerers of Kamar Taj do not have any affinity in elemental arts, I believe that with your powers, you should be able to learn them. After all, your unique red lightning is already quite astounding. Master Wong explained the reason. This stage is where sorcerers start specializing in a particular mystic art. The books I have given you are only the compulsory ones. Do you want to learn any other mystic art? Master Wong asked me. I want to learn enchantment. When I had first seen enchantment described in the introductory books, I had already been fascinated by this special mystic art which could be used to create powerful artifacts. Ah, you are interested in creating artifacts. But enchantment is quite a demanding mystic art. Would you have enough time to devote to enchantment? Master Wong asked me. Don't worry, Master Wong. I think I will manage. I assured Master Wong that I would have enough time to study enchantment. If you think so, Peter, Master Wong said and brought me the introductory book to enchantment. See you later, Master Wong. I bid him farewell and started to leave the library. Wait! Master Wong asked me to wait suddenly. What is it, Master Wong? I asked him confused about why he stopped me. He showed me a leather-bound book which was covered in runes. The title read Thunderclap and Flash, and the author was Master Zenitsu Agatsuma. I wanted to give you this. Master Wong passed the book to me. Thunderclap and Flash. What kind book is it, Master Wong? I asked him. It seemed to be about a lightning spell. This book contains a mystic art which was created by a master of Kamar Taj who trained in Ta Lo. As it is a unique mystic art, it has a lot of requirements before one can use it. As such, it has always been ignored by the sorcerers. Master Wong explained the origin of the book. However, given that you also trained in Ta Lo and your exceptional lightning attribute, I believe that you can learn this special mystic art. Master Wong expressed his belief in me that I would be able to learn this unique mystic art. Thunderclap and Flash. I wonder just what kind of mystic art it was. After return to my lodging, I could not control my curiosity and sat down to read what this book was about. Thunderclap and Flash was written by Master Zenitsu Agatsuma. He was a master sorcerer of Kamar Taj in the early 1600s. Before he joined Kamar Taj, he was a samurai in Japan. As a samurai, he was master of Ayajutsu aka Quick Draw. He used his experience as a swordsman to create this mystic art. The reason this mystic art was so difficult was because it required quite a high lightning affinity to use. Master Zenitsu Agatsuma had a lightning attribute because he was struck down by lightning when he was a child. However, it was difficult for any other sorcerer to have such a lightning affinity, so no one else could use it until now. No wonder Master Wong gave it to me. With my lightning powers, it would be easy for me to fulfill the requirements of Thunderclap and Flash. Chapter 21. Chapter 21. As I stepped out of the portal and entered Kamar Taj, I should have felt happy. After all, I had returned to Kamar Taj after a whole month of secluded training which could easily have been much longer. But as I remembered what I had promised to Master Ing Nan under the shimmering moonlight by the tranquil lake yesterday, my heart only felt burdened by a sense of duty. I resolved to further my study in mystic arts more seriously so that I could complete my studies early and return to the outside world as early as possible. As I entered Kamar Taj, I saw that Ancient One who had opened the portal was watching me with surprisingly a smile on her face. It was rare to see such an expressive emotion on her face, as she often represented herself as a calm and collected person. Congratulations, Peter. Ancient One congratulated me first on my completion of martial arts training. When I had sent you to Ta Lo, I had thought that I would not see you again for at least 6 months. That was how serious your condition was. So, imagine my surprise when Master Ing Nan called me yesterday with a communication spell that you had completed your training already. Just from her expression, it could be seen that Ancient One was very proud of me. As your teacher at this moment, I am truly proud of you. As Ancient One praised me, I could feel a sense of pride inside me. After all, it was the best gift for a student that his teacher was proud of him. All right, that is enough. It is time to check your progress. Create a portal. Ancient One immediately started her examination as soon as she finished praising me. Although, it was quite typical of her as she was a hard master. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Then, I opened my eyes which shone with determination. With a not so little amount of trepidation, I created a portal. As Ta Lo was a sealed dimension, it was not possible to create a normal portal there. So, it was the first time I was creating a portal after I completed my training. When I had first created a portal, it was completely formed of red lightning and soon imploded. But this time was different. It was quite similar to a normal portal which had a fierce orange glow. The only difference was that it had a slight reddish hue and little sparks were emitting from it. Seeing my success, I cheered mentally. Although my happiness could easily be seen as I was smiling quite brightly. Well done, Peter. It seems that you have finally mastered the basics of mystic arts. Now, you are ready to advance in your study of mystic arts. Ancient One gave the results with a faint smile. I know that you are quite anxious to contact your family, but you can call them at night. Now, go to the library and ask Master Wong for the next part of mystic arts. Ancient One ordered. Greetings, Master Wong. I greeted Master Wong as I entered the library. Peter. Welcome. When I had heard that you had completed your training in Ta Lo early, I was truly happy. Master Wong praised me. Ancient One asked me to collect the books of mystic arts now that I have completed my basic training. I asked Master Wong. Well, that was the purpose of your training. Wait a second. I will bring them to you in a moment. Master Wong asked me to wait as he opened his portals. These books should be what you want. Master Wong showed me the books he brought. As I read their titles, they were books about advanced energy constructs, barrier spells, and shield spells. But one book surprised me. Basic Elemental Arts? I asked Master Wong, surprised. Although most sorcerers of Kamar Taj do not have any affinity in elemental arts, I believe that with your powers, you should be able to learn them. After all, your unique red lightning is already quite astounding. Master Wong explained the reason. This stage is where sorcerers start specializing in a particular mystic art. The books I have given you are only the compulsory ones. Do you want to learn any other mystic art? Master Wong asked me. I want to learn enchantment. When I had first seen enchantment described in the introductory books, I had already been fascinated by this special mystic art which could be used to create powerful artifacts. Ah, you are interested in creating artifacts. But enchantment is quite a demanding mystic art. Would you have enough time to devote to enchantment? Master Wong asked me. Don't worry, Master Wong. I think I will manage. I assured Master Wong that I would have enough time to study enchantment. If you think so, Peter. Master Wong said and brought me the introductory book to enchantment. See you later, Master Wong. I bid him farewell and started to leave the library. Wait. Master Wong asked me to wait suddenly. What is it, Master Wong? I asked him, confused about why he stopped me. He showed me a leather-bound book which was covered in runes. The title read Thunderclap and Flash, and the author was Master Zenitsu Agatsuma. I wanted to give you this. Master Wong passed the book to me. Thunderclap and Flash. What kind book is it, Master Wong? I asked him. It seemed to be about a lightning spell. This book contains a mystic art which was created by a master of Kamar Taj who trained in Ta Lo. As it is a unique mystic art, it has a lot of requirements before one can use it. As such, it has always been ignored by the sorcerers. Master Wong explained the origin of the book. However, given that you also trained in Ta Lo and your exceptional lightning attribute, I believe that you can learn this special mystic art. Master Wong expressed his belief in me that I would be able to learn this unique mystic art. Thunderclap and Flash. I wonder just what kind of mystic art it was. After return to my lodging, I could not control my curiosity and sat down to read what this book was about. Thunderclap and Flash was written by Master Zenitsu Agatsuma. He was a master sorcerer of Kamar Taj in the early 1600s. Before he joined Kamar Taj, he was a samurai in Japan. As a samurai, he was master of Iajutsu, aka Quick Draw. He used his experience as a swordsman to create this mystic art. The reason this mystic art was so difficult was because it required quite a high lightning affinity to use. Master Zenitsu Agatsuma had a lightning attribute because he was struck down by lightning when he was a child. However, it was difficult for any other sorcerer to have such a lightning affinity, so no one else could use it until now. No wonder Master Wong gave it to me. With my lightning powers, it would be easy for me to fulfill the requirements of Thunderclap and Flash. Chapter 51. Chapter 51. Wow! Kamar Taj looks amazing, Kitty said, charmed by the scenery of the crowd of apprentices attempting to create portals in front of her. Everyone else was also amazed by the view, but Kitty was the most expressive one. But then again, everyone loved her because of her expressiveness. Peter, did you also used to practice here? Kitty asked me excitedly. Actually, no. My powers were quite unstable back when I had first arrived at Kamar Taj. And when I started learning magic, I found that because of my powers, the magic I casted was unstable. So, I only practiced here once. After that, Ancient One gave me personal guidance so that I could gain control over my powers. I replied. Really? Then, you must be very lucky to have the leader of Kamar Taj personally guiding you, Kitty said upon finding that Ancient One personally trained me. I shared a glance with Ancient One when Kitty said that I was very lucky to have her personally guiding me. There was no need for me to tell her that Ancient One's guidance included spars which were much more dangerous than Danger Room's highest level. Everyone, Ancient One said, drawing everyone's attention to her. We have created a large-scale magic circle which will analyze your mutant powers so that we can use the data obtained to help you in whatever problems you are having because of them, and also guide you in using your powers more accurately. There is still some work remaining to perform on the magic circle. As such, I have to go there for the final adjustments. In the meanwhile, you can tour around the Kamar Taj while the magic circle is getting ready. Ancient One informed us that she would regretfully not be showing us around Kamar Taj. Master Wong, I will leave everyone to you. Meet me with everyone else at the magic circle in 2 hours. Ancient One left us in the care of Master Wong and disappeared using a portal. Come, let me show you around Kamar Taj. After all, it is not every day we get guests at Kamar Taj. Master Wong took the command of our group as the tour guide, and so we finally started our school trip. There were not many tourist attractions to see on Kamar Taj, as it was a school for teaching magic combined with a military facility. The only areas which could be said to be tourist attractions were the library along with the artifact depository. Still, the beauty of the Himalayas was already enough of a tourist attraction. This could be clearly seen by how everyone was looking in amazement at the beautiful scenery presented by the mountains before their eyes. Master Wong joyfully showed us the library once we reached it. After all, he was in charge of it. Although everyone was dismayed once they found that the books which had information on the mutants were all in Sanskrit. Afterwards, we went to the artifact depository. This place was where most of the artifacts of Kamar Taj, which were basic artifacts, were kept. Although most of the artifacts were securely locked in the depository, a few were shown as a display which we went to see. "Huh! What is this sound?" Ms. Aurora exclaimed as all of us heard some noise while we were en route to where the magical circle had been created. Indeed, sounds of a battle could be heard nearby. Looks like someone was sparring. "Oh, it is just Master Mordo training with his new apprentice. Let me show you," Master Wong replied upon hearing Ms. Aurora's question, and took us to where the noise was coming from. When we reached the training courtyard where the noise was coming from, I could see Master Mordo sparring with someone I knew all too well. It was Hai-Rin. This was indeed a surprise. I didn't know that Hai-Rin had officially joined Kamar Taj, and that Master Mordo had taken her in as her apprentice. After all, I had not seen her before when I had returned to Kamar Taj last week. Hai-Rin and Master Mordo stopped sparring upon seeing us approaching. Hai-Rin's face, in particular, lit up as she saw me. "Dragon Sorcerer." She addressed me while bowing. "Come on, Hai-Rin. There is no need for you to address me like this. After all, we are friends." It truly felt awkward to me when she addressed me as Dragon Sorcerer. It was all right when others addressed me like this, but I didn't like it a single bit when those close to me addressed me as such. Besides, me and Hai-Rin had become rather good friends during the time my armor was being made. She also had great talent in enchantment, so we had hit it off. She had given me some great advice on enchantment along with her grandfather, which had helped me further my own mastery in the subject. "Dragon Sorcerer?" Jean questioned me about my title. Everyone seemed puzzled by this title of mine. "You all must be Peter's friends." He had gained this title when he had achieved great contribution during the Dimension Invasion back when he was just an apprentice. That scene was truly magnificent. Peter was finishing those monsters as though they were mere flies. Hai-Rin replied before I could answer. She pridefully explained how I had destroyed a great amount of monsters during the Dimension Invasion in my draconic form, which made me look like a dragon. As such, I had been given the title of Dragon Sorcerer because of my tremendous contribution in the battle. Dimension Invasion? There was a Dimension Invasion. Everyone was surprised to hear that a Dimension Invasion had occurred nearly just a month ago. Their facial expression clearly explained the confusion they were feeling when they heard of my contributions in that battle. "Ah, it was just a small Dimension Invasion. You don't need to worry. Besides, Hai-Rin is exaggerating the facts. There were after all many other sorcerers who had also participated in that battle," I said, trying to downplay my role in that battle as I honestly didn't like the sudden fame I had gained in Kamar Taj after that battle. In fact, one of the reasons why I had accepted Professor Xavier's invitation to his school so readily was because everyone looked at me with reverence in Kamar Taj after the invasion. This was a little unbearable for someone like me, who liked to be treated as an ordinary person. "Hey, don't say it like this, Peter. After all, you had saved my life in that battle." Hai-Rin argued. "Saved your life?" Jean asked as everyone was shocked by this fact. Yes, one of the stronger monsters in that battle had ambushed the barrier team where I was. It had broken the barriers and caught me in its tentacles so that it could suck my soul. It was only because of the soul protection pendant which Ancient One had given us that I could resist until Peter saved me. I still get shivers whenever I remember how hardly that monster had constricted me with its tentacles. I could not even use any magic because of its constant attempts to suck my life. Hai-Rin explained how I had saved her life by killing that soul-sucking monster. Damn! This world of magic is too dangerous. Even soul-sucking beasts actually exist. Kurt said after hearing about the soul-sucking monsters. Actually, you don't need to fear the soul-sucking monsters. After all, they come after every few decades, not every day. I explained that there was no need to fear these monsters. By the way, when did you officially join Kamar Taj? I asked curiously as I hadn't seen her the previous time I was in Kamar Taj. Just a few days ago. I realized that my skills were clearly amateurish in that battle, so I decided to finally join Kamar Taj. I wanted to sharpen my battle skills because of what happened last time. So, I decided to train under Master Mordo because he is the master here in combat arts. Hai-Rin then started explaining how much she had improved under Master Mordo since she had joined Kamar Taj. It was great that she had decided to officially enter Kamar Taj. I was afraid that after her near-death encounter during the Dimension Invasion, she would be too fearful to enter this world of magic once again. I forgot to introduce everyone to you. The guy in sunglasses is... We will have enough time to talk later, Peter. At this rate, we will get late. As such, we must hurry. Master Wong interrupted our conversation saying that we would get late. That's right. I would talk to you later, Hai-Rin. See ya later. I bid goodbye to Hai-Rin and all of us started to move towards our destination where Ancient One was waiting for us. Chapter 52. Chapter 52. Wow. So, this is how a magic circle looks. Everyone, myself included, were amazed by the large magic circle shining brightly before our eyes. You all are finally here. Wait a moment. Ancient One said these words before turning back to give instructions to the sorcerers who were handling the magic circle. All right. The magic circle will be ready in just a minute. Now, all you need to do is to just enter the circle and use your powers. We will take care of everything else. Ancient One explained what we needed to do after confirming that the magic circle was ready. So, which one of you will enter first? Ancient One asked the question. Everyone besides me was anxious to enter the magic circle, but we all knew who wanted their powers to be analyzed the most and thus deserved to go first. Rogue. Go. You are the one who requires it the most. Ms. Aurora gave an order to Rogue to go as she knew how much she required it. But. Rogue was clearly surprised by Ms. Aurora's order. Looks like she had expected to go first. Yeah. You should go, Rogue. Every one of us supported Rogue in this matter. Even Jean, who was clearly having some problems because of her mutant ability these days. But how will I use this power? You know how my power works. Rogue expressed her worries regarding how would she use her power and on whom? Don't worry. Peter had told me about your condition. As such, we had already procured a good test subject for you. Ancient One gave an order to a sorcerer who went somewhere and came back with something in his hand. A turtle. Indeed, in the hands of the sorcerer was a turtle. Yes, a turtle. According to what Peter has told me about your condition, I believe that your powers may be related to life force. As such, the turtle which has a large lifespan should easily be able to withstand your powers. Ancient One explained her hypothesis. So, you don't need to worry. You just have to enter the magic circle and touch the turtle. We will take care of everything else. As per Ancient One's instructions, Rogue went inside the magic circle and touched one of the turtle's legs reluctantly. Looks like Ancient One's hypothesis was correct. The turtle, upon being touched by Rogue, was looking a little uncomfortable but otherwise good. I believe that is enough. After about a minute, Ancient One gave the order that the analysis was complete. As soon as she said these words, Rogue immediately put the turtle on the ground as if she was afraid that something would happen to it. Looks like it is indeed a complex matter. Ancient One frowned as she saw the results of the analysis. Master Wong, fetch me that book about mutant abilities related to the body. Ancient One asked Master Wong, and he immediately opened a small portal around his hand to fetch the required book. Ancient One's expression seemed to worsen as she looked through the pages of the book, and along with it, Rogue's hopes also seemed more likely to dash with every passing moment. Your situation is worse than I had thought. As Ancient One said these words, Rogue's expression visibly saddened as her hopes had been destroyed. You don't need to be sad, Rogue. I am just saying that it would be difficult to deal with your situation, not that it can't be dealt with. Ancient One reassured Rogue that her condition could indeed be resolved. Really? Rogue's face brightened as she heard Ancient One's words. Honestly, your powers look more like a cursed body than a mutant ability. It reminds me of Vishkanyas of an ancient Indian evil cult who could poison anyone just by touching them. Ancient One explained what she had learnt from the analysis of Rogue's powers. As such, it will be quite difficult to deal with your powers. So, we will need to analyze your powers more accurately before we can design anything to restrict them. You just need to visit a few more times with Peter. After some thorough analysis, I am sure that we can develop an artifact which can seal your powers temporarily. As she heard Ancient One's words, Rogue's eyes grew misty because she finally saw a ray of hope. Seeing Rogue's misty eyes, Ancient One hugged her in order to console Rogue despite her reservations about anyone touching her. So, who is next? Ancient One asked after Rogue's matter was resolved for the time being. Kurt, you should go. Jean said to Kurt, despite her needing it more as she was having headaches these days. This was just like Jean, always trying to be considerate of everyone. But Jean, Kurt obviously tried to protest but relented after seeing her stubborn look. And deactivate the hollow watch. You don't need it now. Jean ordered, causing Kurt to deactivate it and reveal his true appearance. Kurt was obviously surprised to see no visible reaction on anyone present's face upon seeing his true appearance. Don't worry, Kurt. They have faced much worse-looking interdimensional monsters. So, they will not face discriminate against you just because you look a little different. I reassured Kurt that he will face no discrimination in Kamar Taj. Then, Kurt entered the magic circle ready for analysis. The observation of his powers was simple as he just needed to teleport around in the magic circle. When the analysis of Kurt's powers was finished, Ancient One had a complex expression on her face as she looked at the data. May I ask you, Kurt, that from how long ago you look like this? Ancient One asked politely. Since I can remember, Kurt gave the shocking answer. Then where did you live before joining the school? I asked curiously because anyone who looked this would obviously have already been on the news. It was in an isolated facility. Some people used to take care of me there, but most of them obviously didn't like me. When my teleportation powers finally awakened about a year ago, I got the chance to escape that place. Then, I was on the streets for a few weeks, but Professor Xavier found me fortunately and offered me a place in the school. It was then I learned that the facility I was raised in was actually a secret lab which was researching on me. Kurt explained his lonely life with a sad face. It was the first time I was seeing him genuinely sad. To think that the ever-happy Kurt had such a sad backstory. Have you ever wondered why are your powers such complex compared to the powers of the other mutants? Ancient One asked Kurt. It was indeed surprisingly, especially since his appearance was like this from his birth. It is because your parents were mutants, likely both of them. Ancient One dropped the bomb that Kurt's parents were mutants. But if my parents were mutants, then why did they abandon me? Kurt said with tears in his eyes. Hey, don't be sad. We are here to support you. We all tried to console Kurt amidst this sudden revelation. While we consoled Kurt, I had a thought out of nowhere. That mutant woman, Mystique, also had blue skin, similar to that of Kurt, and the shade of blue was also nearly same. Although everyone else among the students didn't have a good glance at Mystique because we didn't have time during the mission because of Sabretooth, and she was locked away as soon as we arrived at the school, I had a good glance at her. Could it be that Mystique was Kurt's mother? Chapter 53. Chapter 53. Although this was currently just a hypothesis, there was a very good chance for it to be true. As such, I should ask Professor Xavier to check if there was any truth in this assumption when we return. I am sorry, Kurt, if I caused some of your bad memories to resurface. Ancient One apologized. Even if all she had done was explain the results of the observation of his powers to Kurt. It is all right, Ancient One. Besides, if you hadn't told me about this matter, who knows if I would ever learnt about it. Kurt said to Ancient One that there was no need for her to apologize. All right. Moving on to your powers, aside from your teleportation ability, you also have a great affinity towards spatial attribute. As such, I would like to offer you the position of an honorary sorcerer in Kamar Taj. Ancient One suddenly gave an offer for an honorary sorcerer to Kamar Taj, surprising all of us. An honorary sorcerer. Is this spatial attribute such rare that you would offer an honorary sorcerer's position to me easily? Kurt questioned, having already heard from me how rare it was for someone to have an honorary position in Kamar Taj. Have you seen Peter's storage bracelet? Ancient One posed a question instead of answering Kurt's question. Of course, I have seen it. Its function to store a large amount of goods in such a small space is simply miraculous. Kurt replied, having seen my spatial bracelet's efficiency. Then you should know that it was made using the spatial attribute. And the spatial attribute is so rare that we would be considered lucky if we could find someone with it in a century. Currently, most of the storage bracelets we have were made about 1,000 years ago by researching an extremely rare spatial attribute artifact called Tesseract. As such, we are in imminent need of someone who has spatial attribute. Once you have some sort of mastery over spatial attribute, you can help Peter in making the strongly needed storage bracelets. Ancient One explained why she had suddenly given such an offer to Kurt. So, do you accept my offer? Ancient One asked Kurt after completing her explanation. Hell yes. Who in the world would miss a chance to learn magic? Kurt agreed excitedly to her proposal, ready to learn some magic. Jean, you should go next. Scott said to Jean after it was confirmed that Kurt would be an honorary member of Kamar Taj. But I believe that you need it more, Scott. Mine is just a small problem. What if Ancient One could find a way for you to deactivate your powers temporarily? Then, You would not need to wear these sunglasses every moment of your life. Jean argued that Scott's problem was more important. Fine. But you have to promise me that you are going next. Scott relented, but not before taking a promise from Jean that she was going next. All right. Start the analysis. But where should I focus my lasers? Scott asked after entering the circle. Peter, would you please make some targets? However, make sure that they don't enter the magic circle. Ancient One asked me to create some targets for Scott to shoot. With pleasure. I casted the spectral wyvern spell, creating wyverns for Scott to shoot. So, what are the results? Scott asked as he came out of the circle after shooting all the wyverns. Your problem can be said to be the opposite of your friend's. Your power is simpler in nature, but it is because of this fact that it is difficult to deal with. Ancient One said after seeing the results. Your power is an energy emission type which can be considered to be one of the simpler mutant abilities, but the problem is that the organ which is used for the emission of the energy are your eyes. As such, it is difficult to deactivate your mutant power, especially since it is quite strong. Does that mean you can't do anything? Ms. Aurora asked, worried about Scott's situation. It is not that we can't do anything, but that it can't be solved in an instant. We can guide him in controlling his powers and even enhance their firepower. However, if Scott wants to deactivate his power, he would have to gain full control over them. We can just guide him throughout the process. The actual result will depend on Scott himself. Ancient One revealed that she could not do much in this matter as Scott would have to depend on himself for his condition. All she could do was guide him along the way. Could you not create an artifact to suppress his mutant power like you are doing for me? Rogue asked after hearing Ancient One's words. We could have created one if it was any other organ which was the channel for releasing energy. But eyes are too risky. One mistake and Scott could turn blind. As such, we can't do anything. Ancient One explained why they could not do anything in this case. You all don't need to worry. Ancient One has already said that she will guide me in controlling my powers. I can do it myself with her help. It will just take some time. Scott told us not to worry as it was not a bad result. Jean, it is your turn now like you have promised. I know. You don't need to repeat the promise. Jean said, entering the magic circle. So, what should I do for testing? Jean asked Ancient One. You just need to float these objects for some time. Ancient One said while floating some objects inside the testing circle. If we can't find anything, we will try telepathy. As per Ancient One's instructions, Jean started floating the objects. At first, everything was good, then suddenly something unexpected happened. Jean's telekinesis started going haywire. The objects floating around her were crushed by the increasing pressure, and her psychic powers created a small storm centered around her. Jean, stop it! We all yelled at Jean, calling for her to stop, yet she didn't seem to hear it for some reason. Ancient One. Buzz. Buzz. Ms. Aurora was just shouting at Ancient One, who was observing everything with a calm expression till now, to ask what was happening, when even the testing circle started sparkling for some reason. Stop the testing circle now. Ancient One gave the order in a loud voice with a horrified expression on her face. Chapter 54. Chapter 54. Just what was going on? I had never seen such a horrified expression on Ancient One's face. Upon Ancient One's order, the sorcerers shut off the magic circle, but unfortunately there was no change in Jean's condition. What do we do now to stop this, Ancient One? Ms. Aurora asked, worried about Jean's sudden change. Don't worry. I can still stop it. The situation is not out of control. Ancient One ensured us that nothing will happen. We need to ready the disharmony magic circle, and immediately. Ancient One ordered all the sorcerers nearby. Then, she casted a spell with her hand. Soon after casting the spell, all the sorcerers started carving a new magic circle on the ground altogether with Ancient One. From what I had studied so far, the magic circle seemed to be a psychic one. From the looks of it, Ancient One had casted a telepathy spell to link the sorcerers and was creating the magic circle as fast as possible. Now! As soon as the magic circle was completed, Ancient One immediately activated it after checking that it had not been carved wrongfully. Soon after the disharmony magic circle was activated, the various phenomenon surrounding Jean ceased to exist, and she started falling down as if she was a puppet with cut strings. I caught her, Emma said as she caught Jean with her telekinesis and brought her to us. Just what happened, Ancient One? The other tests had been normal. Then why had such an incident occurred? Ms. Aurora asked Ancient One, anxious to know what had gone wrong. I will answer all of your questions. But I need to first ensure that what had happened with Jean has not caused any adverse effects on her. Saying these words, Ancient One immediately started analyzing Jean's body with her spells. Looks like she is good, just somewhat exhausted. I will give her some medicine. She should wake up in just a few hours. After saying these words, Ancient One asked Master Wong to bring her the required medicine. Now, let me explain what had happened with Jean. She had said that she has been having some heavy headaches in the recent days. Those incidents and what happened just now was because of an external influence. External influence? But how is that possible? It doesn't make any sense. Scott said after hearing Ancient One's words, as he couldn't comprehend what kind of external influence could have such effect on Jean. It is because this external influence is not a person but likely some kind of mighty force. And judging from the amount of psionic energy I was sensing from Jean's connection to that external influence, it could even be a cosmic force. Ancient One explained just what kind of force we were dealing with. A cosmic force? Just what are we dealing with? How did something like this even get into contact with Jean? Although my vision was broader than the others because I was a sorcerer, and also because my powers were given to me by another version of myself, I still couldn't comprehend what was a cosmic force and how powerful it could be. Also, it was questionable that how and why did something so powerful contact Jean. From what I knew about Jean, she had a normal life before she awakened her powers. A cosmic force is something which is said to be one of the pillars of this entire universe. It is so powerful that it can easily destroy this planet. As for how something like this get into contact with Jean, it was likely because she was just compatible with this force. Judging from the intensity of the psionic power just now, it had been into contact with her for a long time. Her headaches before were likely because that mighty force was enhancing Jean's psychic powers above her limit. What happened with her just now was because the testing circle had found the connection between Jean and that force during the analysis. This caused the force to learn that something was interfering with the connection. As such, it overreacted and rapidly enhanced her powers, resulting in the incident which happened to her. Thankfully, I realized what was happening, and immediately created a disharmony circle to cut off the connection between Jean and that force. All of us were stunned when we heard what had truly happened. A cosmic force was connected to Jean and had tried to enhance her powers so much that her body could not hold it. The situation was so serious that we didn't know what to say. In this situation, what can we do? Ms. Aurora asked the most important question after gathering some courage. Although this matter is serious, it is not something too urgent. This can be seen by how easily I had cut the connection between them temporarily. Moreover, these type of forces do not generally interfere in any matter. Although they are not considered to be living beings, they have some sort of consciousness. As such, all we need to do is to harmonize the connection between Jean and that force, for which she will require regular sessions with me. Once Jean has harmonized the connection, I believe she will be able to have a normal life, although she will become a much stronger mutant than before. Still, even after that, we will need to continuously check up on her as we don't know when something unfortunate may happen. All of us took a sigh of relief once it was revealed that Jean could still be saved, and the matter could be resolved even though it included an entity of unbelievable power. I will also try to find what entity it is which has a connection with Jean. Although we can solve this situation, it is still a very serious matter. This kind of activity has not been seen on Earth in over a millennium. Ancient One said that she will look into the whole matter as it was the responsibility of the sorcerers of Kamar Taj. As such, we should not worry much. It was truly fortunate that Peter joined your school. Otherwise, I fear to think what would have happened if we hadn't found about this matter today. That is right. If Professor Xavier had never found me, they would not have known about the sorcerers and never have a chance to use this test which revealed so much. This could be said to be a perfect example of the butterfly effect. All of this happened just because I was saved by Spider Supreme and given these powers. Alright, everyone. Although there was an accident, I believe that these girls would be pretty disappointed if they do not get their powers analyzed. So, I believe that we should continue the test now. Ancient One asked for the rest of us to take the test even after this incident. All of us turned to Ms. Aurora, waiting for her answer as she was the one in charge after all. Very well. But I hope that there will not be any more accidents. Ms. Aurora agreed to Ancient One's request with a sigh. Chapter 55. Chapter 55. It seems that the testing circle is ready. Check if it has been properly overlaid on the disharmony circle. Ancient One said, giving directions to the sorcerers who were carving the circle. As the testing had to continue, the sorcerers once again carved the testing circle, which has been destroyed because they had hastily created the disharmony circle. Of course, because of what had happened with Jean, Ancient One had decided to be cautious and keep the disharmony circle and overlay the testing circle on it, just in case something like the incident with Jean happened. This led to more time being required to ready the testing circle, as overlaying of magic circles was a complex job. But it was always better to have it and not need it rather than not have it at all. Kitty, it is your turn. Come, the testing circle is ready. Ancient One gestured for Kitty to enter the circle, once it was confirmed that the circle was ready. Nothing will happen, right? Looks like Kitty was slightly afraid after what happened with Jean. Don't worry. Nothing will happen. It was just a one-off thing. Ancient One said, ensuring that nothing will happen. Kitty entered the circle after receiving support from Ancient One, her feet a little shaky but her stance got firm once she was at the center. Looks like she was now ready. So, what should I phase out of? My powers don't really work if I don't have a picture of what I have to phase out of. Kitty explained that she could not activate her powers if there was nothing to use them on. Let me help. Ancient One said, casting a spell, and suddenly a wall popped out in front of Kitty. All right. Let's finish this. Saying these words, Kitty put on a determined expression. Then, she activated her power and phased through the wall. That's it. You can leave the circle now, Kitty. Ancient One said after Kitty had completed the testing. That was it. Looks like I was indeed worried for nothing. Kitty said as she realized that her worries were for nothing. It's a very unique result. Ancient One mumbled after seeing the results. Kitty. Ancient One suddenly addressed Kitty in a serious voice. I will tell you the results. But first, I would like you to join Kamar Taj as an honorary sorcerer. It seems that the result this time was indeed unique. After all, Ancient One had already given the offer as an honorary sorcerer without even explaining the results. Really? Thanks a lot, Ancient One. On the other hand, Kitty was happy that she had got a chance to learn magic and had not even thought about the results, which was rather typical of her. Your powers are very unique. Whenever you phase your body, you are actually displacing your body temporarily to a different dimension. This can actually be said to be an application of spatial attribute, but it is such a rare application that I think has never been done before. As such, we would like you to join Kamar Taj so that we can see how can you develop this unseen power of yours. Ancient One explained just how unique Kitty's powers were. Wow! My powers are this much unique. And here I thought that my powers were nearly useless. Kitty was incredibly happy to learn how special her powers were. However, it was the first time I was learning about Kitty's insecurity regarding her powers. What's it I am hearing about, Kitty? How can you even think that your powers are useless? Emma said to Kitty, angry at her for thinking that her powers were useless. Sorry. I will not do it again. It is just that my power felt very lame compared to everyone else's power. Besides, I have now learned how special my powers are. Kitty said, apologizing to her best friend for thinking this way. Emma, it is your turn. After all, you are the last one among the girls. Ms. Aurora said, reminding her that it was her turn. If I am correct, you are the one whose powers were enhanced by Spider Supreme, right? Ancient One asked Emma politely. Yeah. What of it? Emma said in a rather rude tone. No, it's nothing. I am just curious about the nature of your powers. Although we will learn about it anyways in a few moments. Ancient One clarified why she was curious about her. So, I just need to do what Jean was doing, right? Emma asked after entering the testing circle. Yes. But before that, I need to analyze that diamond form of yours Peter had told me about. Ancient One replied. All right. Upon hearing Ancient One's words, Emma entered her diamond form so that it could be analyzed. In this diamond form, it looked like her body was made of translucent crystals, thus the name. Although Emma could still be said to be beautiful in this form, it felt more like she was an alien beauty than a human one. This form was given to you by Spider Supreme, right? It is indeed a powerful form capable of giving you superhuman strength and defense, but it is not related to your X gene. Ancient One explained after seeing the results that this form of hers was not related to the X gene. But you should already have known its demerits, right? Ancient One asked Emma. Yeah. I can't use my psychic abilities in this form. But on the other hand, in this form, I am immune to telepathic abilities, which I have already checked with the help of Professor Xavier and Jean. In this form, it is like my skin becomes a complete non-conductor of telepathic abilities. Emma confirmed that she had already figured out the demerits of using this form. Well, since you already know, we can move to the main part, which is your psychic abilities. Ancient One said, transferring some objects inside the circle for Emma to move. All right. I hope nothing bad happens. Emma said, lifting the various objects with her powers so that they could be analyzed. At first, everything was fine, but after a few moments, Emma suddenly started frowning for some reason. A small telekinetic storm could also be felt to be slowly forming around her. I was about to ask Ancient One to stop the testing, but it was not required as she had already realized that something was wrong. Stop the testing circle now. And also activate the disharmony circle. Ancient One immediately gave the order upon seeing that Emma was frowning. You okay, dear? Ancient One asked Emma as she ran to her immediately after the disharmony circle was deactivated. I am fine. I suddenly had a big headache for some reason. Emma explained what had happened. I know what had happened, dear. For some reason, you have a connection with the same cosmic entity who is connected to Emma. All of us were stunned when we heard the reason for Emma's headache. But how can that be possible? Jean has such a large phenomenon upon testing, but I had just a headache. Emma asked as the results of the testing had been much different for her and Jean even though both of them were connected to the same entity. It is because your connection is weaker. Honestly, it can even be said that this connection is artificial. I believe that it was formed by Spider Supreme and it was not there always. Ancient One hypothesized that Spider Supreme was behind Emma's connection to this cosmic entity. Just what had Spider Supreme even used on Emma for this to happen? Chapter 56. Chapter 56. Just what was that damn Spider Supreme thinking when he had connected Emma with this mighty force? Kitty said while cursing Spider Supreme. This was very rare as Kitty almost never cursed. This is something I can't answer. Someone like Spider Supreme who can easily traverse through this vast multiverse has vastly different ideas regarding what he should or should not do. Ancient One replied, having finally decided to reveal to the students that Spider Supreme was actually from a different dimension. Multiverse? Are you saying that Spider Supreme was from a freaking parallel dimension? Emma was flabbergasted to learn this fact as she had hoped to someday meet Spider Supreme and thank him. Yes. That's right. This time, Ms. Aurora replied to Emma's question. You knew. Then, why did you not tell us? Especially you, Peter. I thought that you were my friend. Emma asked angrily as she was furious that the teachers and me had hidden this fact from her and the other students. Don't get angry at Peter, Emma. It was us teachers who had asked him to hide this fact as we thought that this fact would be useless to you and only distract you. Ms. Aurora replied, asking her to not blame me. Sorry, Peter. I got angry at you for nothing. So, what should we do now in this situation, Ancient One? Emma first apologized to me and then asked Ancient One about what to do next. Actually, having both Jean and Emma connected to the same being can be said to be a blessing in a way. As both of you are connected, any one of you will not be overwhelmed by that entity's powers as the other one will be able to manage the load. This situation will also be helpful to us because if somehow this connection makes any one of you berserk from that cosmic force's powers, the other one will be able to calm her down. It will also be helpful in case you need to negotiate with that mighty force. However, I can't guarantee if Spider Supreme had this intention in his mind when he connected Emma to this powerful entity or they were something else. All of us released a sigh of relief when we heard that the situation was not as serious as we had thought, and would even be helpful not only to Emma but also Jean. We had feared the worst when we had heard that Emma also had the same condition as Jean. Alright, since this matter has been settled for now, let's finish with the testing. Bobby, come. Ancient One called for Bobby so that this testing session could be finally completed. Very well. Let's get this over with, Bobby said, agreeing with Ancient One and entered the circle. For the most of the trip, he was mostly silent as he had only joined the school in the recent days. Despite that, he tried to do his best to give some support to us when the matter regarding Jean and Emma occurred. Bobby tried his best to create some ice once he entered the circle, although he still had a little difficulty using his powers as his ex-Jean had awakened only recently. However, it was fortunate that nothing happened during the testing. Your powers, although simple, have a lot of potential. Although you can only lower the temperature and create ice, the potential of your power is so high that I believe once it reaches its peak, you would be able to create ice age in a small area. Ancient One reported the result, which was surprisingly very good and greater than even the wildest of our expectations. Really? I can't believe that my powers can reach such a point. Whenever I use my power, I can only create some ice, which is not even that much, Bobby said, surprised to learn that his powers had so much potential. It is because your power has only recently awakened. You will realize the true potential of your powers as they continue to develop. I will write a guide for you which will help you along the process, Ancient One said, reminding Bobby to not underestimate his powers as they had recently manifested. Thank you, Ancient One. Bobby thanked Ancient One in advance for the guide. Well, it looks like everyone's testing is finally done. Honestly, it was a little too much shocking for me to learn how powerful their powers were. I don't know how I will explain to Professor Xavier that Emma and Jean are connected to a probably cosmic entity, Ms. Aurora said, sighing in relief that the testing was over as it was a little too shocking for her. What are you talking about, Ms. Aurora? You are still left. Ancient One reminded Ms. Aurora that her testing was left. Me? Ms. Aurora was shocked to hear about her testing. Looks like she had not expected to have her powers analyzed and had thought that it was only for students. Or it could be that she had forgotten about it due to the shock of Jean and Emma's test results. Yes, of course you. After all, you are also a mutant and a powerful one at that. I believe that you will learn a lot about your powers from this test. Very well. Ms. Aurora finally acquiesced to Ancient One's words and entered the circle to test her powers. It was honestly a spectacle to see Ms. Aurora's weathermancy, as we generally never got a chance to see it. The way she shot lightning reminded me a little of my own lightning bolts. And her small cyclones along with blizzards reminded me of several spells Ancient One had once shot at me, although Ms. Aurora's attacks were much stronger in power. Well, your weathermancy is as powerful as it is versatile. Although it seems that you are not using its full power and potential. Ancient One gave her opinion after seeing the report. What do you mean I am not using my power at its full potential? Ms. Aurora was shocked to hear Ancient One's words. Can you heat your surroundings? Or create mist? Ancient One questioned. Of course I can, Ms. Aurora answered. Then, have you ever created fire cyclones? Or made the mist you created cloudy or freezing? Ancient One asked in her calm tone. No. As Ms. Aurora answered Ancient One's question, she realized what Ancient One meant when she said that she was using her powers at her full potential. Exactly. Your power allows you to create several unnatural environments. You limit your power by using it in a simple way. Ancient One explained to Ms. Aurora the true potential of her powers. Thank you, Ancient One. I will keep your words in my mind and try to enhance the way I use my powers. Ms. Aurora thanked Ancient One for giving her such a precious lesson. Ms. Aurora was about to continue her conversation with Ancient One when a sorcerer came running towards our location. I recognized this sorcerer. He was not someone from Kamar Taj. He was actually posted at the London Sanctorum. I remembered him because I had seen him previously when he had come to Kamar Taj to give a routine report to Ancient One. Ancient One, a dimension intruder has been found. The sorcerer said, panic easily visible in his eyes. Chapter 57. Chapter 57. What did you say, a dimension intruder? When did it happen? Ancient One became serious as soon as she heard the sorcerer's words. A dimension intruder was always a serious matter, and it was especially so in this case because a small-scale dimension invasion had occurred not even a month ago. It was about half an hour ago. That dimension intruder was so strong and fast that the sorcerers we had sent simply had no chance against it. It was only by luck that we had been able to trap it in the mirror dimension. The sorcerer described the whole summary of the situation as fast as he could. I see. Wait a moment. Saying these words, Ancient One created a magic circle and closed her eyes. Looks like she was sensing if there were any cracks in the dimension walls. It was incredibly important to check the status of the dimension walls as soon as news was heard about any dimension intruder, because it could be a prelude to an invasion. If there were indeed cracks in the dimension walls, it would not take even a single day before a dimension invasion would begin. Fortunately, there are no cracks present on the dimension walls. Ancient One said with relief evident in her tone as she opened her eyes. It seems that when that cosmic entity had hastily channeled its psionic energy through Jean, it had been quite rough in the process. This had caused the hairline cracks which had been present from the previous dimension invasion to widen momentarily, this allowing the intrusion of that other dimensional creature. Ancient One explained what had actually happened. Now, tell me everything you know about this dimension intruder. Ancient One asked the sorcerer who had brought the news. We had felt a dimensional anomaly in the Alps Mountains about half an hour ago. We decided to check the anomaly first before reporting because the energy of the anomaly we had felt was just too low for there to be a big matter. When we went to the place where the anomaly was felt, the entire region was covered in clouds with thunder and lightning crackling near continuously. That is when we saw the dimension intruder. It was a wolf-shaped creature, although it was completely formed of lightning. As soon as we saw the creature, we launched several spells at it. But the creature disappeared before our eyes with a flash. The very next moment, it attacked one of the sorcerers, but he was able to defend himself fortunately by creating a shield. As soon as that wolf-shaped creature hit the shield, it immediately retreated. It was just too cautious. We were no match for that monster as its speed could be described to be as fast as lightning. We only managed to trick it into the mirror dimension because it got too careless in the end. When it attacked me, I was able to create a portal to the mirror dimension right before it hit me. I can only say that I was just too lucky. I had decided to take a risk because I knew that we would never be able to escape unless we trapped that creature. The sorcerer finished his tale with a look of horror in his eyes. His face was filled with terror as he described just how powerful and fast this creature was. It is indeed a rare and powerful creature. Moreover, it is even an elemental one, and also a lightning attribute on top of it. Master Wong, bring me the book Agamotto's Book of Monsters, Beasts of Lightning. Ancient One asked Master Wong for a book which described lightning attribute monsters when she heard about the monster's description. Here it is, Ancient One. Master Wong picked up the book by creating a small portal as if he was not taking it out from his library but from his own pockets and gave it to Ancient One. This is the monster. Thunder Wolf, a lightning elemental monster from Futhrak's dimension. It is a rare monster even there which has the ability to move at incredible speeds with the help of lightning energy. Ancient One showed us the monster's picture in the book which described a wolf-shaped creature completely formed of lightning. Peter, I think you should go to hunt this monster. With your immunity to lightning, you are the perfect counter to this beast. Also, I remember that you had said that you required lightning attribute materials last time you had come to Kamar Taj. The elemental crystal obtained from hunting the Thunder Wolf would just be perfect. Ancient One proposed for me to hunt the Thunder Wolf as I was its perfect counter, and the elemental crystal obtained from hunting this monster would be perfect for me to make my personal artifact. I can hunt this Thunder Wolf, Ancient One. But it would be difficult for me to match its speed. Although I can catch it with Thunderclap and Flash, I can only use this mystic art in short bursts while the Thunder Wolf can move at that speed continuously. It was not that I could not hunt it, but it would likely be a protracted battle which could go on for hours. Ah, that's right. You should not go alone. Maybe you can take one of the students here along with you. I think Emma would be perfect. Upon hearing my words, Ancient One suddenly proposed for Emma to come with me. But why Emma? I questioned. Because the Thunder Wolf is a very unique elemental creature. As such, it would not be affected by most of the conventional attacks. On the other hand, most of these students don't have any defensive means. So, they can't fight against the Thunder Wolf who can easily approach them within a second. Emma can defend herself with the help of her diamond form and she can also block the Thunder Wolf in its tracks using the telekinetic barriers. The Thunder Wolf may be an elemental creature, but it still moves in the physical realm. As such, it can be affected by telekinesis. Upon hearing Ancient One's words, I realized that Emma was indeed the only one at this moment who could accompany me for the hunt of this unique creature. Peter, I am willing to go with you. Emma agreed to go with me even after hearing what kind of monster we were going to hunt. Really? I said, surprised by her willingness. Of course, I am willing. After all, where will I get this chance to see and fight such a unique creature? Besides, with you there, I believe that I will not even need to do much. Emma said, expressing her confidence in me that I could easily defeat the Thunder Wolf. Since you are going, Emma, let me give you some tips. Only use telekinesis to deal with the Thunder Wolf. Never try to enter its mind. The mind of an other-dimensional creature is completely different, especially if it is an elemental one. However, you can feel its mind to sense its location. It will give you a little advantage. Ancient One gave Emma some instructions regarding how to fight an elemental creature as a psychic. Also, let me give this to you for extra protection. Saying these words, Ancient One created a small portal and took out a bracelet and a ring. This bracelet is something I had created for Peter's training, although there never came a day for its use. It will create a spherical barrier around you which has great lightning resistance. This ring can release a fireball spell, although it only has 5 charges. It will provide an extra means of combat for you. Ancient One explained the function of each artifact patiently to Emma. Shall we depart now, Peter? Emma asked after she had worn the artifacts and tested them to see if she could use them properly. Of course, we should depart as soon as we can. The more we late, the greater there is the chance that the Thunder Wolf will escape the mirror dimension. As the Thunder Wolf was an other-dimensional beast, it could escape the mirror dimension, although it would take it a lot of effort to do so. Peter, Ancient One called out to me as both of us were about to depart. Although the Thunder Wolf is a lightning elemental, you should try your red lightning at it. Maybe you will be surprised by its effects. Ancient One said, giving me a final advice. Chapter 58. Chapter 58. So, this is the place, huh? I said as I looked at the mountains covered in dark clouds which crackled with lightning ever so often. Yes, this is the place. The sorcerer who had given us the message and accompanied us here, confirmed. Then, he pointed his finger to a specific location. This is where we saw and fought that Thunder Wolf. Even without him pointing at the location, it was easy to see the field of battle by looking at the various tracks of burnt grass. Moreover, the smell of ozone was still thick in the air as it had been less than an hour after the battle. Just how fast was that Thunder Wolf to create such wide tracks within so much less time? From what I had learned from the sorcerer, the battle had lasted for less than a minute. I will pray for your victory, Dragon Sorcerer. I need to return to the London Sanctorum as we need to scan the whole area under our control to see if there has been another breach. Upon ending his words, the sorcerer opened a portal and then left for the London Sanctorum. Hey, Emma. Are you sure that you are ready for this battle? I asked Emma now that we were alone. At the Kamar Taj, I had not been able to ask because it was necessary to ready the combat team as soon as possible. Also, Ancient One had proposed herself for Emma to join, so I didn't argue with her since we had to leave as soon as we could. Of course, I am ready. Why? Do you think I am not? Emma asked in a challenging tone. No, I am more than sure that you are ready. What I meant from my words was that are you nervous? I asked, this time however clarifying my intention. What? Why do you think like that? I am not nervous at all, Emma said with a flustered tone. So, she was indeed nervous about the upcoming battle. You don't need to hide your nervousness, Emma. Even I am a little nervous about this battle, even though I am much stronger than this Thunder Wolf. So, you don't need to be shy and hide how nervous you are. I remembered how much of an Ice Queen Emma was. Even if she was much more friendly with me compared to others, she still tried to hide those emotions of herself which thought were shameful. You are right, Peter. I am indeed a little nervous. Emma finally admitted with a sigh that she was indeed nervous as she listened to my words. It was always necessary to talk about such matters before an important battle as it helped enlightening one's heart and helped them focus on the upcoming battle. This was something Master Ing Nan had taught me. By the way, Peter, are those dragon claws of yours ready? Emma asked me, remembering that little project of mine. The enchantments are still not complete, unfortunately. But even if the dragon claws were ready, they would not have been of much help in the battle. The air blasts they can launch are of little to no effect to an elemental beast like Thunderwolf. I explained that even if the dragon claws were complete, they would not be enough against the Thunderwolf. Anyways, let's get ready. It's about time we faced this Thunderwolf. I asked Emma to prepare herself. I am ready, Emma said as she clasped her hand with mine as a way to show her confidence. Then, I am opening the mirror dimension. Always stay close to me after we enter it. I gave Emma one final warning as I opened the portal to the mirror dimension. After months of study, I had finally learnt enough that I could open a portal to the mirror dimension, although that was all I could do currently. As soon as we entered the mirror dimension, we could see a streak of golden lightning flashing from one point to another in front of our eyes. It had already destroyed the entire surroundings in this region while flashing. After we entered, the streak of lightning stopped moving for a single moment, and it was at this moment that we could see its true appearance. It looked just as it had been described by the sorcerer. A wolf-shaped creature formed entirely of lightning. As soon as it saw us, it moved once again, this time with a howl. With my enhanced eyesight and sharp instincts along with my dragon sense, I was barely able to see and feel it coming towards me. Seeing it approaching me, I also transformed my right hand into a claw and struck a punch towards it with my full power. I didn't hesitate to attack this creature formed of lightning because I could not feel even the slightest bit of danger from it with my dragon sense. Boom! As my claw clashed with the wolf's body, the wolf was struck away by the shockwave created by my punch, although it was likely not hurt because of it being an elemental creature. The lightning which formed its body hit me when I had attacked, but it didn't affect me a single bit. Although I could launch my red lightning at it like Ancient One had suggested, I didn't want to do it at the start because it was not certain what would happen when it would be struck by my red lightning. What if it actually absorbed the red lightning and grew even stronger? As such, it was more safe to weaken it first and then try this method. The wolf retreated after being struck away by the shockwave. Then it flashed once again, this time not towards me but towards Emma. Emma, be careful. It is going to attack you. I warned Emma as soon as the wolf moved towards her. However, my warning was not even needed. Before the wolf could even reach Emma, it was blocked by a telekinetic barrier a meter before Emma. As soon as the wolf struck the telekinetic barrier, it immediately retreated once again. It was truly a cautious creature, clearly similar to a wolf. It started flashing not towards us but around us, trying to find a gap so that it could catch us off guard. In order to counter its strategy, I and Emma stood with our back towards each other so that we could not only cover the whole area but also each other. Having an opportunity, I casted the spell Dancing Fireballs, which caused several fireballs to appear into the air around us, floating around as though they were dancing. Thus, the name Dancing Fireballs. It was the advanced version of the spell Twinkling Stars, and both of them actually worked on the same framework. It was just that the Twinkling Stars was the training spell and Dancing Fireballs was its combat version. The wolf struck again, once again attacking Emma. This time, however, it struck with its full power, attacking as though it were a massive bolt of lightning. Emma also sensed the power of the attack this time, and immediately created a telekinetic barrier, and also activated the lightning-resistant barrier from the bracelet. But the Thunder Wolf easily pierced through the telekinetic barrier this time. As the wolf approached the lightning-resistant barrier, Emma transformed into her diamond form as a means of extra protection. However, the Thunder Wolf was fortunately stopped at the lightning-resistant barrier as it could not pierce through it. As soon as the wolf was stopped by the barrier, I launched all the fireballs revolving around at it. Emma also released the fireball spell from the ring Ancient One had given her. The wolf was clearly hurt a lot by our continuous fire attacks, but it was not ready to give in. It attacked me immediately after our fireballs had finished striking it. This time, I tried what Ancient One had suggested. I released a weak bolt of red lightning at the Thunder Wolf as it pounced at me. But when it was struck by my red lightning, I along with Emma were both surprised by what happened next. Chapter 59. Chapter 59. As soon as the bolt of red lightning struck the Thunder Wolf, it entered its body seamlessly. But what happened after that made it seem as if the wolf had been possessed by a ghost. Red sparks started appearing on its body formed of yellow lightning. Moreover, the Thunder Wolf was completely still for some reason. Seeing the opportunity before our eyes, I started casting another fireball spell, and Emma also pointed her ring at it for a follow-up attack. Oh! However, before we could shoot our spells at the wolf, it flashed away from us with a howl. Then, it continued to flash all around the field while howling for some reason. Just from the sound of its howling, it was clear that the wolf was in pain. After flashing all around for about half a minute, the wolf suddenly stopped. It was at this point that we could finally see its condition clearly. However, the wolf's condition shocked both of us. Not only were there red sparks emitting from its body, the yellow lightning which formed the wolf's body also seemed to be destabilizing. Honestly, it looked as if the Thunder Wolf's body was breaking down before our eyes. I didn't know that Ancient One's suggestion could be such helpful. Do you think you should shoot some more red lightning at it? Emma asked as I was more knowledgeable than her about these matters. I don't think it would be wise to shoot more of the red lightning at it. Just a weak bolt was enough to put the wolf into this condition. If it absorbs more red lightning, it is more than likely that it would explode, causing the elemental crystal to be destroyed. If that happens, this hunt would have been for nothing. Moreover, there is also a slight chance that the Thunder Wolf could assimilate the red lightning and mutate, which would only increase the difficulty in hunting it. By the way, do you know what is actually happening to it? Emma asked, curious about what was happening to the wolf. I think that the red lightning is acting like a virus for the Thunder Wolf because the nature of both lightning are different. My red lightning is much stronger and unique compared to its own lightning. It would be better for us to ask Ancient One later after we finish hunting it. So, let's finish the hunt while the Thunder Wolf is like this. I said as I casted another dancing fireball spell, causing fireballs to float around me once again. Yeah, it's about time we finish the hunt. This wolf was seriously getting on my nerves by continuously attacking only me. Emma said as she created the telekinetic barriers and readied the fireball ring. Afterwards, we continued attacking the Thunder Wolf in order to finish it off. Due to the wolf's condition, the battle now was seriously child's play compared to before. The wolf not only could not speed up as fast as it was doing previously, but also stopped often because of pain. Moreover, Emma could now trap it with the telekinetic barriers as she could make sense of the wolf's position because of its slower speed. This made it much easier for me to hit it with my fireballs. Emma, hold it down. I will finish it with a final spell. I asked Emma to hold the wolf with her telekinetic barriers as I charged a powerful spell, forming a concentrated flaming sphere. The wolf was now on its last legs, which could be seen from its dull glowing body. Here it comes. I shouted to Emma so that she could remove the telekinetic barriers from the spell's way as I launched the flaming sphere at the wolf. Boom! The flaming sphere caused a big explosion as it hit the Thunder Wolf. When the smoke was clear, we could see the wolf's body disappearing into thin air, leaving behind just a crystal. That wolf is finally dead. It was truly something. However, that last spell was truly explosive. Emma said as she commented on my spell's power. Well, this spell is not called the Flame Bomb for nothing. I replied, explaining the nature of the spell. I then walked over to where the elemental crystal was and picked it up. The elemental crystal was yellow in color, looking as if lightning was coursing through it. A faint shadow of a wolf could be seen inside the crystal. The crystal also had some strands of red lightning inside it, which surprised me. I will have to ask Ancient One about this matter. Emma, you all right? I asked as I approached Emma, even though the wolf had not even touched her throughout the entire battle. Yeah, I am fine. Just a little shaky as the battle was quite intense. I was on my toes the entire battle because of how fast it was. Still, thanks for asking. Emma said, thanking me for asking. Anyways, since our work here is done, let's Leah. I could not finish my words because Emma suddenly kissed me on my cheek out of nowhere. What was that for? I asked as this was the first time I ever had such an intimate interaction with any girl. Just letting you know that I like you and am interested in you. I know that you are currently not ready for a romantic relationship. But I wanted you to know that once you are ready, I want to date you. Emma said in a shy voice. Basically, she was just claiming the first spot for dating me once I was ready for a relationship. That's however if you are interested in me. You do like me, right? She questioned me in such a sweet voice that I had never heard before from her. Of course, I like you. I confirmed that I did like her. Just that I was not ready for a relationship. Alright, let's return. I said in a bid to change the topic as the atmosphere had become a little awkward after Emma's sudden confession. Jean, you are awake. The first thing we saw when we returned was Jean, who was now awake and looked perfectly normal and healthy. You guys are finally here. How did the hunt go? You guys aren't hurt, right? Before we could ask how she was, Jean instead asked us about our condition. We are good, Jean. It was not a dangerous hunt. What we should ask about is how are you? You are the one who is connected to a cosmic entity and had caused such a huge phenomenon, Emma said as she asked about Jean's condition. I am good. You all don't need to worry. I had honestly felt nothing when I had caused that incident. I had just felt unconscious. Besides, Ancient One has said that she would hold regular sessions for both of us so that she can help us manage our condition, Jean said, comforting us that nothing serious had happened. Peter, you can talk with everyone later. Give me the report about the hunt, Ancient One said, interrupting our conversation. The hunt went great, Ancient One. When I did as you had said, this is what happened. I explained everything that happened in the entire hunt to Ancient One. You were right in not shooting another bolt of red lightning at the Thunderwolf. What had happened to the wolf was because your red lightning is not only far more stronger than the wolf's own lightning, but the magic signature in your red lightning is also much stronger. So, when the Thunderwolf was hit was by your red lightning, it acted as though a virus had entered its body. As the Thunderwolf's entire body is made of lightning, its body simply can't absorb another lightning which has a much stronger magic signature compared to it. If you had shot more red lightning at it, it was very likely that the wolf's elemental crystal would have self-imploded. But then why are there some strands of red lightning in the elemental crystal? I questioned. That's because the red lightning you had shot at the Thunderwolf was assimilated after it died, as the crystal's assimilation ability is much stronger compared to the Thunderwolf. In fact, if you want to use this crystal to create an artifact, you have to slowly assimilate your red lightning in it. Only then would you be able to channel your red lightning through it. Ancient One then continued to patiently tell me everything I needed to learn about handling the elemental crystal. However, I will not make an artifact from it before I have consulted Hyrin and her grandfather, as they were more knowledgeable in this field. This is all you need to know. Now, go and enjoy the rest of the trip with your friends. After all, there are only a few hours left before they have to return, Ancient One said, telling me to enjoy the trip before leaving. And so, I went to where everyone was, ready to enjoy the remaining trip. Honestly, this trip was truly a wild one with mind-blowing revelations. However, it was also beneficial to everyone. Rogue would soon be able to touch anyone. Kitty and Kurt became honorary sorcerers, and Emma and Jean would also be ments of Ancient One. It could be said that our school was now personally tied to Kamar Taj. What are you thinking about, Peter? Come, everyone is going to spar with Master Mordo, Emma said, seeing that I was lost in my thoughts. I am coming. That's right. There is no need to think too much. After all, despite all these hiccups, everything went well. Chapter 60. Chapter 60. The shock gauntlets, or rather dragon claws as they had been modified and renamed by me, were currently glowing under the light of the enchantment circle as runes of various colors swirled around it. As the dragon claws had not been ready when the sudden intrusion of the Thunderwolf had happened, I had decided to finish them as soon as possible so that I could be ready in case any other emergency ever happened. Although I doubt that I would actually use them in case of an emergency. After all, I had made the dragon claws for those cases where the use of my tremendous powers could be dangerous. In order to make the dragon claws, I had made another trip to Kamar Taj the very next day to ask for the magically enhanced metals which I had planned to use in the modification of the framework of the gauntlets. As I had just hunted the Thunder Wolf yesterday, Ancient One easily gave the materials I required. Moreover, she had taken a look at my sketches of the dragon claws herself and made some little changes to it so that the enchantments combined well with each other. She also advised me to ask Hyrin to take a look at the sketch so that she could help me plan the whole enchantment process. When I visited Hyrin to ask for her help, she not only helped me plan the whole process but she also made some outer changes to the gauntlets, giving them a unique design. Now, the fingers of the gauntlets were pointed and the gauntlets now had a black scaly design. So, the dragon claws now truly looked as they had been named. However, I had been curious about why she had made such changes which would have had no functionality at all. But her answer had surprised me. I just thought that they would look cool with your suit. Hyrin had answered with a smile. It was then she had revealed to me that she was also interested in fashion designing. Still, Hyrin had helped me so much that it would not have been too far to assume that she was interested in me. But I don't think that it was like that. My dragon sense gave me some sort of insight when it came to the matter of emotions, although it was not much. And all I could sense from Hyrin was pure admiration for me. Phew! It is finally complete. I let out a sigh of relief as the enchantment process was finally complete. All that was left to do was to check if it was working. I wore the dragon claws on my wrists and they fit perfectly, which was to be expected as I and Hyrin had made them to fit me after all. I channeled my magic into the gauntlets, causing them to glow. So far, they were working perfectly. It was now time to check their offensive power into the danger room. As I left my room and started moving towards the basement, I ran into Kurt, Kitty, Emma, and Jean. Peter, you are finally out. What are you wearing on your hands? Emma asked as she saw the dragon claws on my hands. Oh, it is the project I was working on in the recent days. The one I was telling you about, the dragon claws. It is finally complete. So, I am going to test it at the danger room. By the way, when did you return? I asked. Because I was busy in rebuilding the gauntlets the last few days, I could not join them in their sessions at Kamar Taj which Ancient One had started for them. Ancient One had also made Jean and Emma honorary sorcerers because both of them, in her words, simply couldn't be left unchecked. Just now. In fact, Master Wong left a few moments ago, Kurt explained. Since I could not take them to Kamar Taj these days, Master Wong was the one who took this role. So, how is it going? I asked about their mystic arts studies. It was great. We started learning portal creation today. I was able to create a portal in just 3 attempts, Kurt said while grinning. I would not say that I was not a little jealous of this accomplishment of Kurt's. After all, it had taken me more than a month to learn how to create a proper portal, and that was after rigorous training. My studies are also going great. Although I could not create a portal, according to Ancient One, I would be able to surely in a few days, Kitty said happily. Don't even mention it, Emma said in an irritated tone. Looks like her mystic art studies hadn't gone greatly. Although both of us learnt a lot from Ancient One regarding our psychic powers, the same can't be said about our mystic art studies. Our attempt at portal creation had gone just too badly. It could even be compared to your initial attempts. It is just that our portals collapsed before even forming instead of exploding like yours did. According to Ancient One, we have little to none talent in this part of mystic arts. Jean explained how bad was their experience at portal creation. So, that was why Emma was so irritated. By the way, why don't you join me in testing this new weapon of mine? I asked while showing the newly created dragon claws. Sure, why not? Emma easily accepted my proposal with a smile on her face. Soon, we were in the danger room, ready to check the dragon claws' power. I hope you don't destroy them too much this time, Peter. Mr. Hank's pleading voice came from the speaker. Don't worry, Mr. Hank. We are just here to test something. Afterwards, we will leave. Anyways, release the robots. I asked Mr. Hank to release the robots after assuring him that we will not take much of our time. Soon, the robots had been released and they were approaching us with the intention to attack. Let's see what can you do. Saying these words, I launched an air blast from the gauntlets. As the air blast hit a robot, it pierced through its armor and left a hole in its body. It sure was worth it to enhance the gauntlets with the wind enchantment. I mused as I saw the result. But now was the time for the main event. I channeled my red lightning through the channeling disc on the gauntlets and launched a red lightning bolt at another robot. Obviously, the bolt easily finished TE robot. But my eyes were on the condition of the gauntlets after firing the bolt. To my relief, the gauntlets had not been damaged by the flow of red lightning through them. Thankfully, I had put as much lightning-resistant enchantments as I could on the gauntlets. Now, it was time for the final test. I channeled my red lightning once again through the gauntlets, this time trying to create a red lightning spear. Although the gauntlets held against the power of red lightning, the creation of the spear was much slow because it was created from a large amount of red lightning which was then concentrated. Still, the red lightning spear was finally created after about 15 seconds. Hey! You had told me that it is just a small test. Then, why are you creating a red lightning spear, Peter? Mr. Hank said in a panicked voice through the speaker. I was just testing the endurance of the speaker. I am not going to fire it. I dismissed the spear to show that I had said the truth. Now, is anyone hungry? Because I sure am. I asked after finishing the testing of the dragon claws. I am. Let's order pizza. Kurt suggested as soon as he heard my words. We will see. Let's see first if there is anything in the kitchen. Jean suggested that we should first check the kitchen. Sure. And with that we left for the kitchen. Ring. Ring. Just as we left the basement, my phone rang. I looked to find that it was from Gwen. Hey Gwen. What's up? I said, greeting her. Peter. Is the proposal you had offered on the first day you had returned still open? Gwen asked, surprising me.